Microphone for me. Microphone for Karl. If the blue light goes out, we're screwed. Okay, sorry I'm late. I downloaded and edited and downloaded 51 films. There might be 51 pictures. There might be a repeat. But I thought since you had to put up with Royal Armories and not enough needle binding for the last 5 weeks, we'll go. I bet that's going to glare in the picture. Anyway, needle binding. So since it's hat time, or Christmas time, maybe hats would be something to be made. Because I spam so much on the needle binding chat groups, or the needle binding groups on Facebook, with my YouTube, I haven't posted too many pictures on there because I figured I should only be allowed to spam so much. So some of these hats you'll recognize, some of you won't, but I thought this would be a fun way to show it. So, and I'm missing a lot of pictures as well. But anyway, so before we go too far off, to say hi to everybody. I'm so late. So Albert is here, Garcia is here. Albert bought a lot of Warhammer, by the way, and found a new Christmas beer that you need to try. God, aren't you guys cute over there? Look at those two. Do you remember what the beer was that he told you needed to try?
No.
The Flåklypa Juleöl. Apparently Flåklypa, you have to explain what Flåklypa is, but Juleöl is a Christmas beer. So we're in the Christmas beer season anyway. So you're going to start with a Christmas beer. See if I can turn that just a little bit. The cat's in there. Photogenic cat. Flåklypa, what is Flåklypa?
It's Kjell Aukrust's invented little community of weirdos and animals for the most part.
Yeah, it's not claymation. Is it claymation? No, it's not claymation. It's...
The movies are puppeteering, basically.
Yeah.
It's not even stop motion. He can control the puppets.
Oh, quite cool. So he did one that is playing at Christmas all the time with a crow and what the hell is the other one?
Porcupine.
Porcupine. Okay, yeah, he's just this big brown fuzzy thing. That cat is just doing total cute screen hog time. Anyway, but it's a show that they, I don't know, when was it made originally, the first one?
It probably goes back to at least the 50s.
Yeah.
I would believe.
And it's been shown for every Christmas.
The movie isn't quite that old. The movie is from the
That's what I'm talking
70s.
about. Because it's got color, so it can't be.
Yeah, no, but the kind of the mythos, the stories are older.
Ah, okay. Anyway, so we're going to look for that one, but that one we have to get at Vinmonopolet. But if it doesn't run out before we get it, Albert says there were only 3 left in Brumunddal. But anyway, so some of it has started to make its way in the shop. This is backwards. I'm so sorry. It's Juleöl from Nysund, I believe, because it's got the big O. But that means Christmas beer. So you're going to start off your Christmas beer with this one from Nya Bryggerhus, actually. I thought it was Nysund, but it's Nya Bryggerhus. And
yeah, we've had the Nysund before.
But do they have, is it Nurger that, oh, it's like they have. But this one's just O. Or maybe it's an upside down N, I'm not sure. No, it's an N. If you look at the back side there, I don't think it matters which direction the camera is facing, but this would be the first letter. And it's an N. Okay, I got it. I can read you your, see if I put some light on you here, and I can read it. It says, Denne brygger slik at maltsødmen får en fremtredende plass I smaksopplevelsen. What the heck? Maltsødmen, what do you call that one?
The sweetness of the hops.
For en fremtredende, futuristic?
No.
What the hell is that?
It's in the foreground. It's primary.
Forefront. Or, yeah, to be put, yeah, because it's fremtredende plass anyway, to put in the forefront in your taste experience. Humlepreget tonet ned slik at aromaen fra malten kommer tidligere frem. Was it the hops?
Yeah, hops is humle. Malt is...
The malt, or yeah, the hops is toned down a bit, such that the aroma from the grain can come more clearly, can be more clear. Juleølen passer til tradisjonell norsk julemat. Pinnekjøtt, ribbe og lutefisk. The Christmas beer will should go well or pair well together with Norwegian Christmas foods such as Finnish. The hell do you call that?
Stick meat.
Stick meat, but it's basically ribs from a lamb.
Yeah.
Yep. That are steamed ribbe, which is I would say svineribbe in Finnish, but svineribbe. Okay, so would be pork rib.
Yeah, that's from the pig.
Yep. And lutefisk. Are you gonna have that for Christmas this year?
No, it's not part of our tradition.
Lutefisk is just.
It's okay food. The lutefisk itself tastes like nothing, but you eat it with potatoes and bacon and butter and everything else on your plate tastes good.
Yeah.
So you don't really mind the lutefisk being there.
Pröva den gärna alene eller med mörkt dessert. Väl bekomma. Try it either alone or with a dark dessert. Anyway, so you're allowed to have it, but you can see the reindeer on there, kind of. So this is your first Christmas beer this year, this season? Okay, we'll have to keep finding some more.
Is that a bad sign, by the way?
No, it's because I'm not connected to the internet on my computer because I let it go dark while trying to take off my glasses and squint, read the back of the beer.
Okay, so we are still sending, we are just not receiving.
Yeah, no, we're sending up there. It's just that I need to update. There we go. Okay, then I go back into live and everybody will be back on again. And probably cut Facebook because that eats a lot. Okay, there's some more people here too. PJ Lightning's here. She says, not if all my... Yeah, I'm sure all your pictures are cool, not square. Now, because they're in square format, we found out the hard way that that'll cut off a lot of it when trying to show it with this AI thing. Max is here, wants to know how everyone's doing and feeling much better than last night. Good job, Matt. Max, okay, that sounds like it's going to be an interesting beer. What's the percentage on that, by the way?
It's a shop beer, so it's between 4 and 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's exactly 4.5. That is
This is from Mumble,
typical.
Norway, by the way.
So it's from where my sister and Björnar lives.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Osman is here. Hey, Osman. Well, the cat was here.
4.7. So
4.7. Okay, then you'll be all right. Max has some needle binding. I got a new needle binding needle.
If it tastes anywhere close to as horrible as it smells, I'll just replace it with one of my last birzichis.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, he's gonna be drunk again.
But it does look good.
Look at the malt on it. That head on it is really nice.
I don't like
Do
the
you see
smell.
the-
There is something off about
Let's
the
see.
smell.
That's my feet. Oh no, there is something off about the smell, and it's not my feet.
I don't know.
What do you think?
It's.
I don't know if you've had any Nua beer. N-U-A.
Don't think so. But Nysum we have had.
Noison, but that's not Noison. Noison has like the big O with a little skinny line through it, but this is, turns out it's an N. Or N for those.
Are we teaching them the letters?
No, you can't see it because it says Christmas beer underneath. But it almost looks like a Noison. I wonder if that was an oops by the... What do you think?
Actually not bad.
Oh, good. It's got a nice head on it, a good color. What is it, lemon? No. Does it taste like everything it said it was supposed to taste like?
It's a mild,
the cat.
it's a mild
There you
dark
go,
beer
Aslan.
that smells funny.
Okay. This is for Osman's little girl. Hi.
The other two cats are doing the ultimate triumph of cat diplomacy now. So they are kind of busy and we don't want to disturb them.
But yeah, Max got a brand new needle binding needle. Apparently it's made of bamboo. And saving the smaller one, which is 8 centimeters for a Coptic stitch, and the 10 centimeter and 13 one for normal null binding. Did you get the needle at Systra Negrena? I have one that's kind of from that. I think it is also from bamboo. They're technically weaving needles, but they do function for null binding. This is really bright, maybe. But they might be a little bit pointed, or is it? But those are completely flat, so I don't know how yours is. But it would be good to see. But they've never split anyway, so that was good to see. Let's see, get a couple more things here. Can't hear us. PJ, can you hear us at all now? Sorry. Uh-oh, didn't notice. Oh, no, that might have been the beginning when I had the microphone on the table. Speaking of that, I'll say, wait, I read that part. Albert says, what I said is that there were 3 types of Skinn Juleøl at Vinmonopol. I read that too quickly. Did you change your mic? The sound quality is awful. It's a bit louder now, but not clear. Tell me, is it working okay now? I'll zoom in. Or is it Karl's microphone? But they're both lit.
I have a enthusiastic cat
Yeah,
on
the
my
receivers are
microphone, so
receiving.
it might not be.
Yeah. But let me know how it is now anyway. I can hold it like this, but they're lit up and the receiver's on, so it should be okay. But in the very beginning, I left it on the table, so that's okay. We're going to look at needle binding anyway. Najwa and Sergio is here. Hello. All the way from Spain. Let's see. Who else we have here? It's quite a few. Oh, and Arlene is here all the way from Canada. Red Eastby's here from Sweden, I think. How many did I mix here? I think I got most of them. Anyway, but on to the needle binding. So, my stash busting has increased a bit. I'm just holding this to my mouth just in case that helps. I didn't get much more work done on the Mommen twin hat, but I will work on that because I have to finish that yarn. That's my stash busting yarn that I have to do. No, this isn't this is a hat, but it's crochet. I made it probably 15 years ago with some Eskimo yarn. I think the new name for that is snow. But I am unraveling it to make new things because I don't like the hat anyway, and I can't put a crochet hat in the store. I liked him 15 years ago, but I don't like him now anymore. So I'm unraveling it and making things like a headband. This is nalbound. So if you want a nice little, I'll put this on and hold that up. Oh, oops, my screen isn't, my chat isn't moving down. There we go. Yeah, okay. No, so this was crochet. This is nalbound. So you can kind of see the little different effect in the yarn too. And actually I noticed that the pooling is somewhat similar between the two changes. So you can hardly see the difference if I lift this one a little higher. There. Crochet, nalbound Oslo stitch. But there is a little bit of an extra texture to it because my yarn is kinked and I didn't bother steaming or resetting it. I just nalbound with it directly. But yeah, I don't normally do headbands, but I notice that the customers are asking for them because they're cold and they don't want to maybe invest in a hat. They just want to have something easy on their ears. But so I made a headband. I sucked it up and bought it and made a headband. But I don't know how high to go. I went like that length. Enough to cover the whole ear anyway, and my ears are pretty big apparently. So there's that, but I have to use the rest of this. This is part of my stash busting. These are the 2 yarns that I had to finish for stash busting too. I haven't done that yet. But I have till the end of the year. I have time. Let's see. There's more. I got to put thumbs on these mittens still. That's part of stash busting. These are done in the Mommen stitch. So they're only this far. But the reason I haven't done it yet is because I've stopped and I'm annoyed. Okay. Let's check your OCD here. It's a fuzzball here. Okay. One of these mittens is 1 row taller than the other, and you can sit and count. This one has 1 more row. So this is bugging me because I have a little slight decrease around the top here. Do I rip this one back and sew it shut, or do I try to do 1 more row and then it might go squared? I don't know, but I need to fix this anyway. I need to fix it. I'm going to sit there and think, do I fix it or don't I? Does it bother me or doesn't it bother me? And I think it kind of does. So I think the jury is in that I'm going to have to maybe rip back a row and fix it. It does stretch at least. Damn though. I mean, you sew up the ends and everything and then you forget. You do the counting 1, 2, 3. So those that will have to fix that, and then I'll put the thumb on it. If I put the thumb on it, I might forget to fix it. Let's see. Here was a little bit of leftover balls. These little teeny tiny balls I had. This will be a pouch. I just have to put a string in it. Notice I didn't put any holes in there for the lace to go through. It turns out I don't I kind of figured out that the holes, but the gaps in the needle binding might have a hole enough that you can just string the yarn through. So I stopped making holes in these. It also ended up getting, like, some of them, as they stretch longer, the holes get bigger and bigger. But if I just used the regular holes, the natural holes in the needle binding, it was just fine. So that I got a bit done on. I have a start of a pouch, but I can't figure out what I did with the yarn for it. I would like to add that to my stash busting list if I can figure out where I put it. Here's another hat. I noticed that the things I wanted to do for stash busting are like unfinished projects. So here's another one. Started that in Oslo. It is the very last of this wonderful yarn that I got at secondhand stores. And I wish I could find it again. You have two hats made out of this type of color, just different colors. The green one is made out, a darker green one is made out of this one. And I think there's a blue one too. So I'm going to finish the hat, and hopefully it's enough yarn to finish the whole thing. That's in my stash busting list. Let's see. This one, which is done with the double 2 strands of this thin, you can see there. But my screen keeps wanting to turn off. I should probably plug that in and it won't turn off all the time. This one's 2 strings of this going through in Oslo. That is on my stash busting list of things to finish, which means I also have to finish all of the yarn that's with it. Sorry, all of the green yarn. I don't think I want the purple one in my stash busting. I use that one for teaching. Yeah, I hope your dad feels better, Albert. What happened to his dad? Oh, I'll have to catch up there. Oh, he's got a fever. Oh, no, I'm glad he's in the hospital being checked out then. No, so you say hello to your dad and hope he's doing better. Okay. But I didn't work on the mom and twin for the Fåberg hat, but I did finish some other things too. These were, for the longest part, only done to here, top down to here, but I finished them. This is with Sulka leftover yarn. The reason I think I didn't finish them was because I ran out of the orange yarn. I couldn't find any more of the brown. So I finished these. I showed these ones to Albert earlier this week and put a little thumb on them. But they have to be finished with blue, so it's kind of an odd color, but it's leftover yarn. I'm using it all. But this is that wonderful alpaca and silk from Sulka that's discontinued. They're kind of fun. I definitely decided to do the blue on the thumb though, so it would kind of the blue on the end there a little bit. These are in Oslo stitch. Let's see, what else did I do? I got lots done, you just wouldn't believe it. I finished a hat that was started last winter, I believe. This is inside out so that it doesn't get dirty. I think this one was only done as this far from last Christmas. So I finished that too. This is also a spiral, if you'll notice. Otherwise, this would wrap onto itself, but because it's actually 2 yarns going around each other, you'll see a lot more of this in the pictures I've got to show. But because of that, that's why this color is separated, because there's 2 threads going around at the same time. And the giveaway would be there's one end here and one end there. So I have 2 end points opposite each other. Then you can kind of see the bottom part is also a spiral there. So I was effective. Let's see, what else did I do? I found a hat. No, that's something different. Found a hat that was done. I didn't realize it was done. Then I made a pouch. Now this is where the rest of this pink and beige go. I'll show you a hat for that. Some of these yarns might look familiar. And this other one too, with little speckles of orange in it, is also something you'll see later on. That is resurrected yarn from the dead. And these are all really, like you can see with the blue there, short colors, short pieces of yarn. I think to use this black row in here, it actually does get a little bit of blue in there. But to get the black row, I had to do 2 threads together to try to get the same thickness. This one is done in dollarna stitch, so it looks a little woven. So that's done. This is, you can see where I didn't make holes. I just strung the yarn straight through. But that is, and if you want to do a square fold, that's how you do it. You run the yarn or the string straight through there and straight through there. If you have questions for Karl, by the way, speak up whenever, because otherwise this is Nalbinding. So that's what a square fold would look like.
Yeah, I'm kind of if the
He knew it was going to be Nalbinding
if
heavy.
the annoying little cat decides to go very vocal today, I'm ready to take her on a little bit of an exploration of the rest of the house.
Yeah.
So far, she has been good. She was sleeping ass to ass with Silly in front of the fireplace.
Yeah.
But then she woke up and started licking him in the face. Then he got tired of it and kind of body slammed her into the bed. But normally when they lose a little bit of a fight like that, they walk away. But she didn't do that. She just starts licking her crotch directly in his face. So he gets annoyed and walks away. Then she gets bored and now she is walking around screaming as she normally does.
And Naja was asking if the mittens that were starting at the or ending at the top, if ending I'd unravel a bit and undo. Yeah, I did start them from the bottom up. The reason I usually start from the bottom up on my mittens, although there's no rule that says you have to,
Karl?
is because if my start row
do you want to be on
is
YouTube?
too wide, say for example I wanted them to start here and it's too wide, I can just choose, instead of unpicking and guessing, I can just make them a little longer. So they go there, and that's where it starts up. So this way I can try them on as I go. But yeah, I started here and then worked my way up. But for some reason I decided to change it up when I did these. These ones are started from top down. I have no idea why I did that. But it made it a bit easier because maybe I might have done it because the amount of color I had. I wanted it to match up to a certain point, and then if I had to go funky stripey or whatever it would be at the bottom. That might have been why I did it. I don't know. I started them forever ago, and it was about time I finished them. So they're finished. Yay. Then I have this little guy started. This will be a pouch. There is a hat that I made with this yarn, but it looks like this, which is darker than what I'm making here. This is a self-striping yarn from Big Drops Delight, I think it is. But I am picking out this little sample I did a couple weeks ago for Fåberg, just to show, because I didn't like the way it was working with the two yarns, but I needed to show something. So I'm doing 2 threads at the same time. One of these and one of these together, and then it kind of gives, this is also very soft yarn, fuzzy almost, so they kind of gives the softer appearance, and then it looks a bit like that. So going from a little bit lighter to darker is actually quite natural from the yarn. Okay. Let's see. Showtime! Okay. I have to catch up a bit more here. If I missed anything else. There's a lot of the flow clipper, by the way, says Albert, so you're in good shape, Karl. Najwa is planning to make some new needles out of bone. It takes a while to let the pork, or let the pork clean through. I was like, wait, what? No, to let them soak clean enough, I can imagine. And they're all saying hello to the kitty. And then on to the lutefisk. Rodisby says, I've only had lutefisk that has been cooked in a nice sauce. Lots of bacon, I guess that's key. I see Raymond Roberts is back. Welcome back. Let's see, who else do I have? I have yet to find a weaving needle at Sister Negrena. I have found the bamboo needles elsewhere, though. They might not, it was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago that I bought them anyway. I bought a whole bunch for classes because they were like 12 kroner a piece, but they, yeah, I don't know how quickly they last. Torben's here, by the way. He says, quick hello from Sogndal. Hope y'all have, where'd you go south? Hope y'all have a great morning. He's from Norway. Evening, night, depending on wherever you dwell at the moment. I bought gin today. Happy camper. Okay, he's gone. Albert says I can buy one for you guys if you can't get it, Karin. The Flåklypa beer.
Yeah, we haven't been to a Vinmonopoly in like
No,
forever.
and I don't think we're going to get there till right before Christmas. So maybe we can give you money for it. Okay, anyway, green screen time. Let's see how this goes. I don't know how that frame is going to be in the background or that Roger vaginal looking yarn in the background, but we will see. The look on Karl's face. There. No, this is the wrong. There we go. Okay. So now I got hats and hats and hats. I may try to make an album at first to put these in, but I think, let's see, there. Okay. Let's start with the plain colored hats. Failed to fetch media. Okay, maybe I can't show that one. All right, screw that. We'll just do these. Okay, then I have to move this back. Now they all fit in sight anyway. This one is made with some apple yarn I had for a long time ago. It's an apple green color, and it's a single spun yarn. A lot of, or a lope yarn, just one thread. A lot, this made with Oslo stitch, I believe, as well. Most of my things are made with Oslo stitch for speed purposes. Actually, I can find out. I have, a lot of these are from Ravelry, but I have so much more I should have uploaded, and it looks like my phone is canceling photos. Let's see. Yeah, this one's an Oslo stitch. And the yarn is Marks and Kittens Eco Wool Color. Anyway. It used to be sold at Pound Doodle Hobby. It's probably been discontinued long time ago in a yellow-green color. Okay, that was one of the first hats. I think that was back in 2021 I made that hat. That was one of the first hats that I was selling on commission in there back when we were allowed to sell on commission. But it's just basic round start hat. Here is another one. This one. I have so many hats to go through. I believe this one was a plant dyed hat. See if I can find a picture of it. No, if I had details on it, I might. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't put them on there. Let's see. I zoomed for some reason. There we go. And it's this one, it also looks like Oslo stitch, but I'm willing to say this is probably Maman because it's slightly thinner yarn. This was a plant dyed one, but you can't even tell by looking at it. It looks just gray, but it had a bit of a green hue to it. Auto cucumber. What's the auto cucumber with Eileen?
Autocorrect on your computer.
This is Eileen equals asleep. Oh, his daughter. I was gonna say. I prefer auto carrot. Yeah, I've been doing auto carrot. Don't know where I got that from, but I'm not the original on that one. Okay, we're gonna. This is in very random order, but anyway, hopefully it'll give you some ideas of things you can make. This hat was fun. I have to see if I can find the details so I can find out what the name of that yarn was. Yeah, I made a pouch out of it as well. I made actually 2 hats out of that yarn. And sure enough, I don't have picture detail on it, but I might have it on this pouch. Yeah, it's Katya Nepal yarn. So some of these yarns, you might be able to find them secondhand if they still have them around anyway, but they are most likely probably all vintage by now. This one is Katya, Katia, Nepal yarn, and this colorway is actually, that's a self-changing color. It's pink, orange, green is called 5005 is the colorway. And I got this back at my mom's friend's shop that she used to help out at. My mom used to help out at in 2011. That's how old that yarn is. But we made lots of things out of it. It was originally made in sweaters for my kids, and then my mom had leftover and gave it to me. And I had enough to make 2 hats like this. This is just one of them. I ended up making, yeah, and then I used the rest of it in a pouch. There is absolutely 0 of that yarn left. Why isn't this not just playing? It keeps going backwards. But anyway, that was very popular. The 2 that were in the shop, I put one in first because it's such a bright color and kind of not as boring as most people want their hats to be. In a Viking village, it sold so quickly. I put another one in, and it was gone. I would get more of that yarn in a heartbeat. It's a bit thick, but it's really fast to work up with in Oslo stitch. And of course, I put a pixie top on it because I think this was from the year. Yeah, this is 2024. Then Anders Hovland was in the village quite a bit, and he has a pointy hat. And if he's in the village, everybody wants a pointy hat. If he's not in the village, they all want a flat start hat. Here is another early hat that I put in the village, or in the shop when I could sell on commissions. This one I didn't put in right away, but I made it back in like 2020, 2021. And the original shop manager said, no, it's too bright color. The Vikings want dull colors or simple colors. So it didn't go in the shop. But then 2 years later, the Nalbinding was selling so well that I didn't have any more hats in the shop to sell. So I had to throw it in there. And funny thing, it disappeared in about 2 weeks. This color hat that I didn't think anybody would want. But if you look really close, what are you looking for, Karl?
My phone.
Your phone is right here.
Ah.
Yep.
It's just being black.
Yep. Do you have your microphone off if you're going to go outside? Yeah, you do. Okay. All right. And then, yeah, anyway, so if you zoom in on it real closely, you'll see that the red yarn is this, is kind of this multicolored one. I think the gray yarn on that was something much more simple, and the black actually, but that red yarn, and then the bottom one is the pink yarn, was some expensive multicolored yarn that my mom had. And it was just a little bit of it left, so I used it to swirl in. And as you can see from the bottom, it also is, it's a spiral technique. So it starts with 2 different strands that spiral around each other. Each row grows around each other anyway, and it has 2 end points. But you can kind of see where the colors, the black especially, down where the black is, where the pink and the black is, that they separate. So if you have just a little bit, and that was just a tiny ball of both of those, but that's all that was left of that red yarn and all that was left of that pink yarn. And so if I spiraled it like that, I could make those little colors really, really show off instead of just having just one big stripe that disappears, or even one small stripe. And then, I mean, it truly is a leftover hat, because then I didn't have enough gray to do the whole hat, so I had to kind of finish it off with the black. But with the colors tied, wrapped around like that, it really kind of tied in. I'll see if I have some information on the yarn. The gray one is Sandnesgarn Alpha. I don't know if they make that anymore, but it's a real basic yarn. And the black yarn is the Trieselgarn Arctic. That was actually a cheaper yarn from Auro-Pris, I think. So there you go. You've got the really expensive unknown pinks and unknown reds. I didn't know what the skein was. It was only 20 grams. But it was enough to make the cheap yarn look really nice. Let's see. Find another hat here for you. These I made a lot of last year. Again, it was because Hovland was in the village, and when you have Vikings in the village with pointy hats, they really do kind of infect the people that are in the shop, who all now want pointy hats. Let's see there. So this is actually a spiral, but this is more of that alpaca yarn. I was in a phase to use up as much as the sulka yarn, my favorite one, to use up the pink, and I had pink and blue and gray. If you saw the wrist warmers, they were in orange and brown. But at this point, I was left with a bunch of pink and blue. I now have a very small amount of blue left, light blue left, like that same light blue there, which I will mix in with the grays and the whites that I have. But this is also spiraling. The pointy hats are so in this year, says Raymond. They were last year, and then Anders wasn't Viking in the village too much this year, so all of a sudden there was less demand for the pointy hats. But there are still some people that want them. There's a really wonky spiral hat, if you remember, with a spiral embroidery on it that I made earlier this summer, and that one took a couple months, but it sold, so people want the wonky hats too. But yeah, and it all depends. They're all different variations of happiness. This one's a medium happy hat. I'll let you determine what makes it a very happy hat. That's not gonna, we'll show that one later. That's the second picture for a different hat. There we go. Same technique with this one, but this is actually not spiral. This hat is made with plant-dyed wool. I'm not sure if I have a picture, or if I'm looking on Ravelry for the details about them. I really should post more stuff to Ravelry. No, I don't have more detail on it, but I'm pretty sure it is it's the plant-dyed wool, and I probably made this in 2021 as well. Actually, it's onion dyed. I can see it. It's onion dyed, and it's done in I think that one's Oslo stitch. It's a slightly thicker yarn. And again, I had just a small ball of a darker version of it, a darker plant-dyed yarn, so I snuck that in there. Nice seeing you, Najwa. Yeah, yes, you should definitely send up pictures again. Yeah, I haven't used Facebook. She mostly stopped using Facebook. Yeah, I don't know what I will switch to when Facebook is done, because that's the only way I can communicate with the rest of my family pictures-wise. But anyway, no, so I'm not exactly sure if this was Oslo stitch or not. I thought maybe I had details on it, but that is the best picture I had of it, unfortunately. But that was a way also, it just, every once in a while when you have to change your yarn, just use a short amount of a different color. And that was a way for me to use up the rest of that one green ball. But, oh no, it is a spiral. If I look at the bottom, you can see there's 2 start points at the bottom, or ending points. If you right across from each other, the one is like kind of in the lower third of your screen, but the other one is opposite that. No, it was done in a spiral. Same technique. Boy, I need to get off this kick. Half spirals are so in right now. Here's another one done the same way, but you'll notice there's 2 different blues. It is technically the same blue, but 2 different dye lots. So this one is actually got some of that darker blue is spiraled in from the top as well. And then I only had a little tiny bit of that red left, so that's where that went. And then when I ate the hat ate the rest of the blue as it went towards the bottom of the darker blue to try to use it up because I didn't want to sit there with a tiny little ball amount left. So that's another spiral one in the same Sulka yarn. I had so much of that yarn, but I needed to use it. Oh, that's a different one. We'll show that one later. This is when I was running out of that. I ran out of the pink Sulka. Everything I made to use up all that light pink Sulka yarn ran out, so I had to try to find a different yarn that was somewhat close in color, or I tried to anyway, and then I had bought some beige and some dark brown to play with to make some more of those hats like that. They were selling really well. But so this is actually Hjerte garn. Let's see if I have more detail about that. It's a Danish yarn. It's just a basic single ply wool. Yeah, Hjerte garn Naturull, or natural wool. And that one was pink and brown, and I think I also had a beige one, so I made like a whole little series of those. I bought 2 of each skein, so a total of 6 skeins, and used them all. So it's pretty good about that. Pointy spirals everywhere. Yeah, there's a lot of pointy spirals on this one. It turns out to get any more hats of mine, I have to go to a backup disc because they're not on my computer anymore. This one is also burning off the last of the pink or the blues. It is actually 3 spirals around each other. So same thing, same concept there, but you can see there's 3 endpoints. I think you can see where the light blue row ends and the pink row ends, but where that dark blue one ends is on the other side of the hat. But again, trying to burn off leftover yarn. So if you want to use leftover yarn for Christmas, this is supposed to give you some ideas. And there you can see it. It's hard to see what you're looking at, but when you know from that previous hat, you can see it's 3 starts. So the start ring has a couple of stitches with each color in it, the 3 colors, and then it spirals around and each yarn goes around. One of the reasons why I liked making the spiral hats is because they worked up really fast. It's a thick yarn in Oslo, but for some reason it seems to go faster when you're spiraling or working with more than one thread, because I guess you can only, work one color until you catch up with the other one, and then you have to work that one for a little bit and keep going. Do I do a lot of plant dyeing in the village? Not as much now as I did before, but we do have like 3 other people that are plant dyeing, at least maybe 4. There's one in the village right now, but I don't know if I think she's going to try to dye, but it was a little too cold today. It was too cold to dye today. But yeah, we do some, but mostly my plant dyeing is going to look like boring green or boring brown. Sometimes I'll take yellow yarn because I don't like Easter yellow yarn. And I'll dye it green. Green is easy to do. I'll skein it up. I'll twist it up in the skein up and throw it in the pot so that it doesn't dye evenly and you get like a tie-dye effect. Yellow darn, bright yellow yarn that has been over dyed with green makes a really cool acid green color. But if I dye in the village myself, I have to do some boring color that I don't have to pay attention to. Here is another completely spiral. This is also with that Sulka yarn and the blues and the whites. Oops, there we go. My screen went dark. Actually, do you want to get my plug for the computer and it will stop trying to turn off? It's plugged in under the chair over there, Karl. But anyway, this is actually a dark blue and a light blue. I only had a little bit of dark blue left I keep finding new skeins. Every time I think I'm out of it, I find another one, a little ball. So this one, I think, is just 2 spirals, but at one point the light blue changes to a dark blue, and then it changes back to a light blue again. Just me swapping one color in to try to use it up. Let's see. Let me swap these around, and then you can plug this in. There you go. Thanks. My computer screen keeps going dark. So if I plug it in, maybe it will stop going dark all the time. But yeah, so I would love to do some more plant dyeing in the village, but don't always have the time. But it's a great way to kind of make your colors match too. Let's see. More spiral hats. This one is I have a lot of this gray. But I also, right before Christmas, if you remember last year, I had found somebody that was selling them for this yarn that I like called Sulka, Mirasol Sulka yarn. Anyway, they were selling it for a really good rate. So there's a Karl in the picture. Look at how he looks in the head. Anyway, they were selling it for a really good rate, so I bought a bunch. And let's see if I do that. You can see up on the wall, I still have that much left of it, plus some in the bag. But I did find a little ball of the light blue, so I will probably make a white one with some more blue spiraling in it, but maybe not spiraling through the whole hat. So maybe some with the beige too. It should be kind of fun. Or the gray. Let's see, back to green screen. I've got a lot of these spiral hats to show if that'll inspire you. Let's see. There's another one. That's the top of the... Did I show that one? Yeah. Oh, it's not the same hat, but it's pretty much the same idea. I had so much of that pink, I was so just dying to get rid of it. But that one is brown and pink, which was my favorite combination for a pink. I don't like pink, but I actually do like that color pink. That dusty rose, I think it's called. And then there was a lighter one as well. But here's the tip of a blue one. Same thing. I might find that hat later on, a closer picture of it. I don't know if I can get all my pictures up on here. But there you can see the spiral kind of goes around at the top. And if I spiraled it all the way through, it just might look like a striped hat. So that's another reason why I like to break up the spirals at the top and the bottom. And here is the opposite of that pink and brown hat. So you've got this is also with Naturuld Hjertegarn, the Danish. There you have this one. And then you have the opposite. So, but those sold really fast. So I kept making them, and I have to get him back in the village, I think, so I can sell more. This one is much more subtle. This one is a dark blue and a light, there's like, no, I was going to say it's a dark blue and a light blue, but no, actually both of them are dark blue, but this is what happens when you have 2 different dye lots, because the same shade was dyed, but at 2 different times. So they make the dark blue dye. Let's see if I put this down so I don't get a thing here. So when they dye the dark blue, they only have so much dye, and when they throw it all in and then they take it out, it's all dyed again. But you want to make more of this color, so you try to make it more. But if you are just a drop or 2 more of pigment or whatever, or maybe a drop less, it will change. It'll shift the shade a little bit. And I was kind of worried that the hat wouldn't match or would look kind of uneven or something would be slightly off on it. So this one I spiraled them intentionally. One of the darker ones with one of the lighter ones so that it looked, or I staggered it as well. I might have done that as well, but to try to mix the 2 colors in together because I didn't think I had enough of just the one dye lot. But I think, actually that one might not be Sulka, that one might be that Naturuld. Let me see. There's another one that I got from Denmark. Nope, it is Sulka. Never mind. That one's Sulka. That is Mirasol Sulka, which has 60% merino, 20% silk, 20% alpaca. Love, love that yarn. Okay. Let's see. More. Carla's starting to make a noise again. If she keeps it up too much, I will kick her out. No, we're not going to do that hat yet. Here is some more plant dyeing, but this one was done for a Stitch of the Month. Let's see. Why does my YouTube keep pausing every time I tab out of the window? There we go. Okay, this one, yeah, I have to look up what this one is exactly because I can't see the stitch too close. But that, when I was telling you that I over dyed yellow with green, and then I twisted up the skein before I put it in the pot so that it wouldn't dye evenly, that's what that looks like. But I didn't have enough to make a whole hat. So this is also spiraled intentionally, but sometimes the spiral, the second color changes to the same color as the first to try to make it stagger a bit. Or maybe I did 4 on that one because it looks like a really long spiral. But I see at the bottom, for example, the beige overlaps a little bit, so I'm not exactly sure if this. Let me read what I wrote on here. There we go. This one is done in sconson stitch. Yeah. So this was for a stitch of the month, probably in 2024 because they made it in March 1st. I see 2024. And the details I wrote about it. No, I didn't write anything specific. I just wrote March's stitch of the month was Broden. This is the sconson variant of it. This one was made top down to use up leftover plant dyed wool. And this hat was made for also my color of the month 2024 challenge, which was probably green, I'm assuming. And it was nettle. I used nettles, stinging nettles, to dye over the yellow to get that color. And the first one was the nettles regular yarn dyed, but a second dye bath. There is a slight variation in the lighter color, but it's harder to see it because I like to do the kind of tie-dye effect. The green looks like my new Norwegian camo pattern. Yeah, it does kind of looks a bit like a little military kind of esque. Looks camo, or camo says Nolvia. Yeah. Hi Nolvia, by the way, and Roger. Yeah, no, it does have a bit of a camouflage look to it, so didn't even think of that. But I liked the way that it lit up with the overdying the yellow. That's nice as PJ, but I would feel silly wearing a nipple hat. Yep, that one has, I think, a slight nipple to it too, unfortunately. But we got some flat heads for the not so nipple thing. Oh, volcano hat. I like the name of that one too. Okay.
Would wearing a nipple hat be better or worse if the nipple was subtle?
You're about to find out. The reason you're about to find out about this, Karl, I'll see how much I can put this down. I'll show it a bit more later. Yeah, see that hat that Karl has? Now, if you're from Norway, you know what a blåfjell nisse is. I bought 1 skein of yarn today. Look at this blue. A friend, a Viking in the village, was telling me that they had a new, Noro made a new yarn, and Noro is one of my favorites. I've used a lot of their Silk Garden and Kisu and some other different colors. Kisu is very thin, by the way. But this one was, I think it's Madura, I want to say. Madara. Backwards, sorry. And this is 60% wool, 30% silk, and 10% alpaca is the Noro. But I absolutely love it, so I needed to try it, so I bought 1 skein of it, and I was happy to see that on Garntopia, they had discontinued colors, so this was one of them. They're not continuing this color, at least this shade anymore, but they're continuing the yarn. So it's normally 396 kroner a skein, but it is 100 grams. But I got it for 283 plus shipping, so it ends up being almost the same without shipping. But I have to try it. So I thought, how would Karl look in this color? I don't know if you can see it. It keeps going back and forth. I have to turn the green screen off. I can do that, actually. There we go. So how would Karl look in that? I think he's gonna look. It's really bright, so he might look like a blueness. So a blåfjellnisse or blue mountainess. It's a Norwegian thing. You've got the rednesses and you've got the bluenesses. You've got the graynesses. You got all kinds and mosegrun. So I've started his. This is going to be in the stitch of the month, the Fåberg stitch. But I don't know how many stitches I started with. I can't remember. But I'm increasing every 5th. Until it gets a bit bigger, then I'll decide. So it's kind of a slow increase, but this will be, lift up your head again, Karl. Something similar to that, as best as I can do with this much yarn. And if I run out, I do have some Noro Secret Garden in beige, whitish beige gray color that maybe I can finish it off with at the end, but then it really would look like a Nissa hat. So we'll see. There's 200 meters in this yarn, I believe. Yeah, 100 grams, 200 meters. So this will be interesting to see. By the way, if you're not familiar with Noro, it's a Japanese yarn. I don't know what gave that away. It's a natural fiber. The fiber is hand-selected and inspected by Master Isaku Noro from the most reliable and ethical suppliers. Fibers are never treated with acids and harmful chemicals. They are gently spun to preserve original character. The color is natural as well. The Isaku Noro creates asymmetric patterns and complex colors to mimic the beauty of nature that surrounds you. And it's a natural process. Wabi Sabi embraces natural imperfections. The harmony of the natural variation and original character of the fibers are preserved and delivered into your hands. But it is a loose spin. You can see that. So little pieces of silk, and it's raw silk, not super shiny silk. The sulka has a shinier silk to it. But they'll have these little fibers that pull out. So you want to make sure you do short pulls with this yarn. It's not as... the silk makes it strong, but these little fibers can separate if you do long pulls. But and I don't know if there is a... oh my God, Carla's going to get to me. I don't know if there's a pooling to this, but I suspect there is. So I put a little loop on the end that I did not... the end that I used does not have a loop on it. This is the last bit that I should use. Okay, you get to take Carla for a walk. But we'll show this stitch again a bit later. Because it's the Fåberg stitch. It's the stitch of the month. Let's see, go back to green screen here and see. Next hat. There's so many. See, I showed that one. Oops, that one we showed. Oh, these ones are fun. This is Broden Stitch in super thin yarn. It was made for Sigrun Designs fashion show. Anders Hovland was going to be in it and needed a hat. It's a replica of one that somebody else made for him, God knows how long. The little point at the top will be a bit more obvious in the green version. I had to make two of them, a green one and a black one. This one, I swear to God, if you must really like someone if you make black, because it's so hard to see and because this is such thin thread. It was not for the faint of heart anyway. But I love the way it turned out. I like the way it looked on him. I didn't ask his permission to show the hat, but you've probably seen him in the village this summer. I think wearing it at least once when he was on YouTube with us. Let's see if I can find the details behind that hat. There it is. The black hat and the green hat for Sigrun Design. But it didn't get featured because he got sick and couldn't go with. I put... let's see, I just read everything I read there. Is pretty much what I just said. The original hat that he had was done in Broden F1, but this yarn turned out to be a little bit finer. I kind of figured that out when I was working the gauge. I'll show you the green version. You can see it a little bit better. If I have the green one on here. There's the green one, so you can see it much better. The thread was just a little bit finer, so I went with the denser stitch. The black hat was done in Finnish 2+2 F2, the one that we just saw, but I thought it could tolerate a little bit more density. Oh, I didn't even remember that I did this. So the green one, the one that you're looking now, is actually slightly denser. This one is done in Finnish 2+3 F2. This means I had 3 loops behind my thumb and took 2 loops forward. But both were done with an F2 connection to make it a bit dense. This one, the green one, was my favorite. I wrote favorite results, so any future ones will also be done in Finnish 2+3 F2. It is extremely lightweight and finishes just above the ears, which is intentional as it is a summer hat. And this, what I used is Sandnes Garn Tin, Tynn, which translates to thin, by a Peer Gynt version of it, and got that one in Voss actually. So Anders got the yarn, but it was commissioned anyway, and it was supposed to be at London Fashion Week in 2024, I see, but didn't quite make it. But I absolutely love seeing Anders wear those in the village. They look amazing. but they took forever. I think it took me about at least 1 week to a full week to make one hat, whereas those Oslo ones and Sulka I could probably maybe make in 4 hours if I did nothing else. Let's see, there is this one is kind of a fun one to look at. This is some yarn that had been weathered. I mean, it was clean, it was fine, but it had been blowing in the wind for too long, and so it became a bit delicate. It doesn't mean the yarn is bad. You can definitely still use it. So what I did is I tripled it. It's a little bit thicker than the yarn that was used in the last one. But I tripled it, and that made it much, much more stronger. And I made a lot of stuff out of this, if you remembered seeing wrist warmers and things made from before. But this one I did a deliberate ombre effect, which is another way you can use leftover yarn if you don't have a lot. The very top of it, I have 3 strands together. This is an Oslo stitch. I did 3 strands of the orange, the bright orange. And then after, I don't know how many rows, I swapped out one of the oranges for the brown. So now I have 2 orange strands and 1 brown strand, and then I did some rows with that. Then I swapped out another orange for another brown. So at this point, in the middle, I have 2 brown and 1 orange. And then after some more rows, I finished it off with 3 browns and no orange. But if you look at the very, very bottom, it starts going a little bit darker. That's because I actually had a third color of this. This was a dark brown. So I started to do the same effect down there, but it really wasn't much more than I don't think it ever reached more than 2 light brown and 1 dark brown. But it's a fun way to, if you have a thin yarn anyway and you want to kind of burn it off real quick, that's the way to do it. If you have a yarn that's kind of weak and you don't know how it's going to hold up, that's another way to make it a little bit stronger. Let's see. Should catch up a little bit on chat. The blue is the only type of blue I actually like wearing, says Albert. And I'm all out of it. Well, actually, I do have a little bit of light blue in the Sulka yarn over by Karl over there. I'll ask him later for it. But I'll mix it in with some gray and some white. But it is a very soft. Sulka's a soft one. This one actually, I think, was a 2-ply yarn. This orange one. Max says, so I'm thinking about finishing my current hat for my youngest nieces. I should probably make one for my other niece. You'll notice this hat, though, by the way, isn't a happy hat. It's just a flat, boring head top. So there you go. You can make one or the other for your nieces. Sconson has their own stitch. Sconson is a version of the Sconson stitch. The Sconson Museum in Sweden, Radisby. So you who are Swedish should be able to find it. There's a video that goes online of somebody in the museum that's doing this stitch, and everybody's wondering what in the hell it is. So because of the museum, we gave it the name Sconson stitch, but it is a Broden variant. I can't remember exactly what the difference was, but I saw that that I must have done it in March 2024 on YouTube, so we'll be able to see some of it there. And I know we've done Sconson before. I have a red hat the red hat's made out of mucin stitch. That's different. But you can see if you can find that video anyway from the Sconson Museum, and you can see the stitch that they're doing. Until then, I'd have to kind of look it up and see what it is. Wonder if I had. Here's a closer version of the ombre effect that I was doing. So you can. It's a good way to kind of use up all these leftover yarns. So if you're trying to you're stash busting, you're trying to get rid of stuff and make Christmas presents at the same time, today is basically supposed to give you some ideas of what you can do. If we can show Royal Armory's stuff for 5 weeks on green screen, we can show needle binding too. Maybe next week I do wrist warmers or mittens or something. We can keep going. Carla is very happy. Yeah, Karl brought her over to the bed and started rubbing her belly, and she's in 7th heaven. Oh, Carl's hat is very happy. Yeah, I was reading Carla is very happy. No, he had to quiet the cat a bit. We're reading more and more on Siamese cats and finding out that they are actually just a very noisy race in general. So here is a hat. This actually turned out to be one of my favorite. This is plant dyed with a really cool blue. So I love this blue. It had a denim look to it. That is not the plant dyed wool. I'll figure out where I got that. I'm pretty sure I have this one on Facebook or on Ravelry. There is also like a military green kind of just at the base of the blue there. And then it goes into actually 2 different of these plant dyed. This is probably gut dyed wool. As dandelion gut yarn, where I basically threw every part of the dandelion in the pot and boiled it and changed my white yarn to something different. But it went really, really well with the blue. But it is, I believe, I think of this, I'm pretty sure this is done as a spiral anyway, where I just changed the color of the spirals. So the main color of the hat that you can see at the base there is actually two different colors. They're swirled around each other so that they look like one color. So it's a spiral hat. The dark blue started out with oh yeah, I have a picture of the top of that. The dark blue started out with two blues going around each other, and then one of the blues got changed. There, you can see it. So I was hoping the blue would last longer than it did. I didn't want that much at the base of it, but without the blue, but I kind of like it. I ended up liking it a lot, actually, because of the way it went in, but also because I think this is done in the Oulu stitch, OULUF1 stitch, which is a bit of a thicker one. I do not remember exactly without looking at notes to see how it is, but it looks like it's almost like a Dalby look to it. But because I did F1, this must be a bit of a denser stitch. So February in 2024, February's stitch of the month was Oulu. This is a 2 spiral hat made from the top down to use up leftovers. I used spirals because I wanted the yarn with the smaller quantities to be able to breathe a bit from those I had more of. And I can see that the blue was a Silky Merino by Malabrigo yarn. Ah, that's why I liked it so much. It's Malabrigo. I absolutely love Malabrigo's yarn. If you ever want to go broke, check out their wool. They have one that's called Rasta, and I think one that's called Rios, which is good to needle bind with. The tan one was some of my mom's mystery wool. I have no idea what it was, so apparently that one was not plant dyed. The light brown one, and then there's the green brown one. Those are both mystery wools. I don't know what they were. I plant dyed one of them with walnut shells, second bath, so it wasn't as dark as it could have been. And the other one was plant dyed with lady's mantle. Lady's mantle is crap, I forgot what it was. But a mantle is like the lacy thing that a lady would wear over her shoulders back in the earlier 20th century, I would think. Of course, it's not a very lacy looking thing. What the heck is that called? Marikopa. It's Marikopa in Norwegian anyway, but that's lady's mantle. And so apparently I featured that one on the weeks between weeks 203 and 206 on YouTube if you want to get a better look at it. But I really liked the way that looked, and I was really disappointed that I did not have more of that blue. I would have loved to be able to do most of it with a blue and then that kind of a green-brown that goes with it. But the Oulu stitch, I think it's time to revisit that stitch because it looks really cool. Yeah. Ah, and Raymond knows. Yeah, blue was also the color of the month in February 2024. This is when I was doing projects that existed in the color that they were in the right month. Let's see. Najwa says, how do you want null binding pictures sent? The email you on your YouTube account. Is it Karin at Guas, GUAS.no? That would be better. Karin is spelt with an I because my mom can't spell. But yeah, you could do that one. You could do that account. That's my work account, so I see it more. My regular email account, which is a Hotmail one, that was so full of spam I can't find anything. But yeah, definitely send some photos. Najwa said, I only made one piece in all black for my sister, hat in carboning stitch. Oh, that was really nice. Yeah, no, I don't see, and she says, I don't see myself making another one soon, and I totally agree with you. Black is, man, you need some really good light and you have to take off the glasses and everything to see that. Let's see. Max is responding to Ruddyspy. Basically, it's Ruddyspy was asking about the Wisconsin hatch. Basically, it's like Broden, says Max, but the connection is M2 left to right. Okay, yeah, so you're taking the middle two in the same manner as with the moose and stitch. I do have a hat in the moose and stitch I need to finish. I made that for, I think it was 2023 or 2022 stitch of the month, and I never finished it, and I found it again. So that's going in the stash busting pile. I can actually show that one. Let's see. If I lift up the phone here, turn off the green screen. Karl is not there anymore, so it's just me. Unfortunately, when we go vertical, it's a very narrow screen. So I did. Actually, it's over there. Okay, no, you can just stare at my couch for a second while I get up and go and get the bag I can't reach. I found a bag of unfinished projects, and I can't believe I forgot all about some of these. I think they just went in a bag when we cleaned, and then we forgot about them. And then the next month comes new stitch of the month, and you got to start working on that. So I'm picking out, there we go, now I can do it again. Picking out some of the things in this bag to finish. And you saw a couple of them. You saw the wrist warmers, that was one. You saw the hat, that was another. This hat will come up again. This one I have to finish. This I think is telemark stitch. Sorry, it goes this way. That I have to finish. I think that's from earlier this year, so that goes in my stash busting pile. We'll see if I have enough yarn for it. But yeah, there you can see it a little bit better. Otherwise, it's just the same yarn all the way through. Okay, that goes in the stash busting pile. This hat I want to finish. Notice this one has all these strings hanging out of it. That is because this is not a wool yarn. It's a stretchy polyester yarn. I bought some, probably 20 some years ago, 25 years ago maybe, just to see what it was like. And if you knit with it super tight, it would, kind of do wonky things. So this is a real testament to gauge. But I like the yarn. I don't know if you can see the shine on it. That would be the little glitz in it. So putting this in the shop, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. But I loved the look of it. But to work with a stretchy yarn is a real trick. You can't do it too lace, you can't do it too loose. You just have to go with the gauge of the yarn. Which also means my joins had to be, these are afterthought joins. I'll weave them in later. And I believe the stitch on this one was, F1. Oh, it's just Corgan, this hat. So anyway, this goes in the pile of things I need to finish. I will put that in my stash busting pile. This is what that yarn is like, though. You can see there's like a shiny piece that goes around it. That's actually elastic. So I don't know any other yarn that stretches like that, but I'd never seen it before, stretching yarn, elastic yarn, so had to try it. Never used it. So I started making a hat with it once, and I kind of regret not finishing it. So when I came across that, I decided this needs to go on the to finish list. Got a lot to do. And I wanted to finish the moose and hat. This one is quite nice, but this is inside out as well. Same thing. My splices weren't sticking on there, so there must be enough of some other fiber in here. This is the wrong side of the moose and stitch. It's very thick. It's also the ridge on it, on the inside, but the right side, that's what the hat looks like. Yeah, if you go way back on YouTube, look at all the dust bunnies on it. If you go way back on YouTube, you can see when I was working on it, but there's not much left. I mean, I can do this, right? But that was what the stitch looks like there. That's what moose and stitch looks like. M-U with 2 dots, S-E-N. Moosin, I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, so that I need to finish, but I don't want to commit to using up all the yarn on this skein because there is a lot of it. At least not for, oh, maybe. I thought there was more. Okay, never mind. I thought it was like this thick, but it's only this much left. Well, then, hell yeah, I can do that too. Might be some pouches, might be a little swirl in a hat. So there you go. There's no way in hell I'm going to win this year against myself. I'm not going in this bag anymore of leftover projects, but there's a lot of them. There's some like this one that we were featuring a stitch once. This is probably not simple looping, but Danish. I won't finish it because I don't like it. I will rip it up and make something else. Okay. How you doing, Karl?
Good.
Do you need a beer Zichi now that you've finished? You finished your beer, though, and you didn't complain.
Yeah, no, it was actually good. It
Yeah.
just smelled a little bit odd, but it's like a mild stout.
Yeah. The Mad Hatter says, Roger, yep, but there's always a way to get rid of hats on because I can sell them in the shop. Just that one, I don't know if I'll be able to. Let's see, what else do we have on chat there? So for making hats, says Max, I'm making for my youngest niece pink, white, and a lighter shade of green. I just know she's gonna love it. Oh, absolutely. The pink hats sold like mad. Those light ones. That's why I ended up buying that Hjartegarn, the Natur Oud, because I needed some more of that color pink, and I didn't have any. But they went. Ready Speed loves the greens. Oh, I do too. The greens are my favorites. Actually, blue and red are my more favorite colors, but the plant dyed greens are so cool. That's I was thinking you could make a poinsettia or how do you say that? Cute Laxochitl for December. Cute Laxochitl is a Nahuatl word for this type of flower. Oh my god, that could be fun. Don't know if I'll get around to that one though, but maybe. What's the funniest thing you've ever needle binded? BJ Bjornar Restelson 1234, I think, if I'm saying that right. Oh, well, I nullbound my kid. That's probably the thing I'm the most.
What?
I nullbound my kid. First, I made her a sweater with a hood on it, and that one was the first hooded sweater I ever made. It was the first sweater I ever made too, by the way. Loved it. But she was at a fun young age. I think she was only 7 at the time. So she was just like, make more. So okay. So then we made her some socks, and she liked that, and we made her hat, and she liked that. Should have made her some mittens. That was the only thing missing because I made her some pants. I actually did needle bind a pair of pants. If you go to the Instagram, which I can't really access, I can't put pictures on it anymore, but my Instagram account, it's somewhere in the logo, go all the way to the bottom and you'll see a picture of my kid who's nullbound. We did think we should do a nullbound onesie at one point, but I haven't found the patience to do that. Another fun thing that I nullbound was okay, you've seen the happy hats. Now imagine a really happy hat. So the first time I made a spiral hat, my friend William Solberg was laughing at me and said, it's a happy hat. It should be like this every time a pretty woman walks by. Of course, I had to make him one like that. So we made one with a point that was this tall, put a stick in it, and he had somehow managed to fix it with a thread or whatever so that anytime somebody walks by, it could be like this. And then as soon as somebody walked by, it went ping, and it was this bright orange hat with some blue spirals and stuff. It was one of the earlier hats I made, but that was my favorite. Other fun things I've seen nullbound that I haven't made. Oh, kids, plug your ears. Raymond, not for children. Penis warmers. A willy warmer. There's a willy warmer, and there is actually a historically correct money pouch. I don't know if it was needle bound originally, but there is one. Don't get down, Fuzzy. But there is a money bag that literally looks like I have to throw the cat. He's on the light. But it's a money pouch. So you've got like these two balls. That's where the bills would go. Or the coins, I guess it would be. And then you have like this longer piece appendage, and that's where you put the bills. Or I don't know, coins go in one, bills go in the other. I guess you roll up the bills and stuff it down the shaft. And then around the whole base of it is a drawstring, and so if you look them up, you'll be able to find some on. I'm pretty sure that I know there's some people that have nullbound it anyway, but it's a little pouch, and it's exactly what it looks like. But there are something called a wheelie warmer. These exist in crochet and in knitting, and I believe a few people might have nullbound them. But yes, it's supposed to hug the boys just right and keep every shaft warm and all the crap. Not for kids. There you go, Raymond. So that is probably the funniest thing I've ever seen made. And then there's Gothic Crochet Group out there on Facebook. If you want to see some of the things that you might find in Conda Maria or another interesting show for playtime at night in the other rooms, you'll see some really interesting things that they have crocheted there, and you could apply the same thing for needle binding. But for me personally, I think the very happy hat was probably the most fun thing, the funniest thing that I've ever nullbound. I don't know, I did leggings with spirals all the way up to the top in bright rainbow colors. Those took forever to sell, but boy, if not one person walked by without touching them or looking at them. Sometimes you need the crazy thing in the store to to get people to look at it. Let's see what else do we have here. Quit la shoshi is how it is pronounced. Like quit. Okay, I'm gonna look that one up, Max, and we'll see. Let's see. It would be epic if you needle bound a one piece or a Superman suit for Karl. Thoughts, Karl? Do you want a onesie? A little trap door in the back?
Wouldn't it be much faster to make one for him?
I am not. No. I've never actually made a cat sweater out of needle binding. I've seen some people made dogs and cat sweaters, but we do have one cat that needs a cat sweater because he likes to go for walks, but he's less fur on him than that one. But now he's gotten so fat, so who knows? A reenactor says, I'm assuming it's Björnar. A reenactor from Oslo once needle bounded a complete dress for an adult. Oh my God. Yeah. Audra has done it for one. I know there's more than one person that's done it, but Audra made a whole one. Marita did too, yeah. So, those are really, because not only is it a lot of work just to needle bind all those rows, but you also have to factor in the weight of your wool when it is done. And your stitches, if you do too loose of a stitch, it will pull everything much longer because the weight of the wool. I mean, a sweater, you got to assume is going to be about 1 kilo's worth of wool. So by the time that thing's done, it ends up fitting tighter than you expected because the stitches pull this way and the null binding stretches this way, not this way. So it kind of gets longer and tighter than you think. So you have to factor in all those things. Anyway, so it's a bit. Let's see. I have a few more hats anyway we can get to here. Let's see. Because here we're supposed to be inspiring. This one, I did at Karl's house a long time ago. Probably the first year. I absolutely love this hat. This is one of my favorites. That is the color, the natural pooling of the color of the yarn. I have to look up what it is. It is quite thin. It's a sock yarn. So you had to do finish 2 + 2. I believe you're going to have to go and do your magic with the cat. Let's see.
Sorry about this, Fuzzy.
Oh, there was another little hat I should have showed. There were so many more hats I should have shown, but there are so many older ones. But I can try to bring them out next time, and hopefully I won't spend too much time. Oh, you didn't have your microphone on when you were talking earlier. There it is. It's called Fåberg, and this is actually just a cheaper yarn or that you can get at... I got it at the grocery store at Karl's house because I forgot we were doing YouTube, and we were there longer than I was expecting, and I forgot to bring yarn, so I bought one of these. I think I have some more of it. But Fåberg, I forget the name of the company that made it. It's probably Coop or Co-op is how it's pronounced anyway. It's a fingering weight, 14 wraps per inch. One skein is 130 meters and 50 grams. So it's quite thin. Yeah, I got it at Coop and Celia, I see. I wrote, this is my usual top-down hat, but made with Finnish 2 + 2 F2. I chose this stitch because it was made with a sock weight yarn I found at the Coop grocery store. I wasn't sure what to expect with this self-striping hat, but I absolutely love the way that it worked up. I wasn't even aware that there was a lighter brown tone in there until I was more than halfway complete. Oh yeah, so you can kind of see that the brown shades as well. It was the perfect project. It used up exactly 1 skein. I have more of this yarn, so I was making its twin in Dalby F2 to see how it affects the yarn pattern. If I remember correctly, that's definitely not done. But Finnish 2 + 2 is one of my favorite stitches for thin yarn. It makes such a nice fabric. It's nice and squishy and soft, but feels pretty dense. What was the name? Elise. This one, Fjellbris, which means mountain breeze. Fjellbris. PJ says I've needle bound a couple of weird jumpers and a coffee mug cozy. Oh, coffee mug cozies I have. Is my coffee on the table? Cup on the table over there? Counter? The tall one with the Starbucks cup. There should be a needle bound thing around it. So I take my leftover yarns. No, not. It's on the counter. Next to the stove, I think. Might be there. Anyway, so the yarn that I was making with my leftover little bits and such, yeah. These are actually a pretty easy gift if you know somebody needs a coffee cup warmer. Ta-da! So this, if you see really closely, it's the yarn that I made. It's got different flecks and tones in there. But that one, I had only a little bit left, so I made one of these. So if you're ever going to make a wrist warmer and you give up halfway through, and you don't want to make two, cup. It's you might need the cup to shape it to it though. If you don't know, this one's a tapered cup.
Not my kind of friends.
But it's pretty much shaped to the cup right now. But I made it in a hurry because this cup is really thin, and it's this thin little plastic thing. So I wanted to keep my coffee from getting too cold too quickly. So that's what this is. I did have to taper it a little bit so that it won't just fall off the cup. Otherwise, it'll fit nice here, but it won't fit down here. So it's got a very slight taper to it, and I believe. Yeah, no, I just used Oslo stitch for this one. Should have some more of that. See, catching up on chat there. I think I got it. Okay, then I gotta catch up my screen here. There we go.
I think we are well into the realm of overtime.
Yeah, we're in the realm of overtime. Well, we're a little bit over, but a half an hour over. I have some more to show though, unless you. We went like almost 3 hours. I'm not gonna go 3 hours. Are you kidding me? Ah, spiral pointy hats. This one I love. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones. It actually was in the shop for a total of 2 days and it was gone. I would have thought that color would be a bit too bold for our average customer in the shop, but I was wrong. This is a Rasta hat. This is also Malabrigo. This is Malabrigo Rasta. I was telling there's Malabrigo Rasta and Malabrigo Rio. I believe Rio is the thinner one. Rasta is nice and thick, and it works up so quickly. You can just do the row count on there and kind of see. But yeah, Malabrigo Rasta yarn. This was the colorway Sabiduria. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean, but anyway, that's the name of the color. This is my mom's leftover stash yarn. Let's see, my mom had a skein of Malabrigo Rasta in her 2024 stash for me to steal. I absolutely love Malabrigo. It works up so quick and the colors are to die for. Then I just wrote, I do not have a pattern for the Pixies top hats. I should say this to everybody. But no, I don't have a pattern for the pixie top hats, but it is basically the same as a round start hat pattern, except that you start with less stitches and you increase slowly until you have the desired amount on the tip of your hat. The slow increases causes the work to cone. And then when you don't want it to cone anymore, you increase like you would normally for a hat. But yeah, love that colorway. That was one of my favorites. Let's see. I believe I showed that one. That's the white one. Yep, I showed that one. Oh, I showed a stitch. Okay, well, I will see if I can find the rest of the picture for that hat. But this one here, this one is, I think I have that one written up on Ravelry as well. This was a hand-dyed yarn that I got from God knows where. I found it in a store, had to try it, and it was the perfect project to make a pair of mittens and a hat. But I wonder if I had to double it. Oh, I did write it down. It's Rauma Fin Ulgarn, except for that it was, it says colorway is Varabit, but it's a hand-spun one. Or a hand-dyed one, so they kind of named their own color beat. Or colorways, so this is color Varbit. The dye lot is moody, I have no idea what that means. But I liked that it was a surprise. I didn't realize there was that shading in there. So if you look really close, you can kind of see a subtle spiraling. And this was made for a couple who was no longer a couple. So one got the mittens and one got the hat. So maybe they had to fight over the matching set. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I put, I'm in Stash Busting 2021 overtime, but I finally got through the bonus yarn that jumped into my basket last November. Okay, so we can see it then. Well, at least 95 of 100 grams of it. The hat and mittens I'd been working on YouTube lately was done. Runa was modeling the hat, but and got to keep it. His girlfriend at the time got to have the matching mittens. They're no longer together, so we'll just leave that out of it. I was surprised to see that I could get a folded brimmed hat and a pair of mittens out of that one skein of yarn. It is kind of thin, by the way. So I used Finnish 2+2 F2 on this one. It's a sport weight yarn with 12 wraps per inches, so it took forever, but it makes such a nice fabric. Then they're very lightweight. So that's what that was. And let's see if I can get to the other picture, because there's one I want to show you, and that is this one. If you look closely, you'll see that that's also stitched with 2 strands held together. Because this is one of my favorite yarns. This is a blue one, or a purple one, and I also have another one in cognac, and I have a lot of it. My mom and I were both going to make sweaters out of it. I got my mom's leftover yarn from the sweater that she finished, but the cognac one, I don't know if I misplaced the pattern or whatever, and I ended up ripping it up and started making hats out of it. But it is very thin, so I have to, maybe I can find it this way. No, I can't seem to, maybe I can. It's very thin anyway, so I wasn't sure if I could get it out. But if I doubled it, it would work just fine. There's the hat. Okay, found it. These ones I've made a couple of them as well. There are Rauma phenol garns that self-color changing. Yeah, this one is a hand-dyed one though, so I bought it from somebody who has plant dyed or hand dyed, I don't know, however they did it, Rauma phenol garn. So you might be able to find some that, but that's what they made it, and they named the color Varbeat. I'm pretty sure it was a hand dyed one, otherwise you might be able to find the colorway Varbeat. But anyway, so this is the purple one that I was showing you. You saw the close-up before. Going through the 1,000 cat pits for a needle binding pick. Oh yeah, no, I totally get it. I was taking forever looking for these. But yeah, so anyway, this one I actually like, because I was able to double up the yarn. I could make it in an also stitch, which is a fast moving stitch for me. But it's very lightweight. That thing would like ball up and fit in your bag, no problem, or even a pocket. And I think I might have a picture of the cognac one, the color. Let's see. No, I don't think that's the cognac one. Crap, maybe I can find. Okay, well, I'll take a picture. I'll show this one, but I don't think that's. No, this isn't it. Anyway, but there's one in the very same color. It's the same color as this. That's also in that yarn. So this one, wanted to show about these, and there's a couple of them. This is done with, let's see, I think I want to say air. Not the easiest yarn to work with. Let's see. Made a whole bunch of these. Oh, Meek. It's Meek yarn from Sandnes Garn. A lot of them would use them to make those Dorte Skapel Gensers sweaters. Some of them actually is Skapel yarn as well. This is just Oslo stitch, but it is a yarn that you wouldn't think you could needle bind with, and you can, but you just don't want to do it wrong. This is a different colorway, but you can see how fuzzy it is. It's not an intentionally fuzzy wool, but it does have a very fuzzy uniqueness to it. So if you start on picking stitches, that sucker is going to get caught up on each other. But if you can, this is what that whole hat looks like, by the way. That's another one of it in Meek. And there's an ochre one. I was using up all of these as much as possible. This is something else that was bought to make a cardigan. So I had a bunch of them, and then eventually those started turning into, oops, that's too close of a version. I started making leftover versions of them as well to finish off the colors when I only had a little bit left. And I think the reason I had a close-up of this one is look at how the yellow joins and ends. It is only, I have to put that down so it doesn't flatter on you. That is the only one part of the hat that is spiraled is the gray and the yellow. The blue part is not actually spiraled at all. You can see at the top on the left of your screen, you'll see that I fed in a row of orange, basically making the stitches as small as possible and just tacking it onto a row, null binding as close as I could to it, and then null binding right over it with the gray. And the same thing with the end where it ends. You can see there's another row in there and it just disappears. Basically, I went right over it with the gray yarn and ended the row, and then it goes back to being a one grain hat. Yeah, I love the ochre yellow. That's one of my favorites. I don't like yellow, but that yellow I like. But it's something that's easy to do anyway, and it is kind of a loose stitch because it's Oslo with that yarn, but it doesn't have to be, it makes it a very lightweight hat, and it doesn't have to be dense because there's so much fuzz in that yarn, it's closing up the holes on its own. I think I have a couple more. I made so many out of those. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. This is another one with the leftover version. Had just little bits left. A very small amount of brown, very small amount of yellow. And then, of course, after I make the whole hat with that little bit of orange, I find more of it and make wrist warmers. And then there's this hat. Another one I like. This is some Himalayan yarn. I forget what it's called. It was a huge ass ball of like, I don't know, it's 200-gram ball, but because that yarn weighs nothing, it was, it's pretty much the same as that air yarn. But because the yarn weighs nothing, there was a gazillion meters on it, and I finally used it up. This is the second hat I've made. I made at least 2 hats out of it. I made a pair of wrist warmers of it, and I knit a tube hat for my kid, one that has like you have a drawstring going through the top of it, so it's either a neck warmer or you cinch the string together and you turn it into a hat by having one end closed off. And here's another close-up of that yarn. It's very similar to the air yarn, but it's not quite the same. It's a lot of mohair. But yeah, if you're brave enough to take on these fuzzy mohair yarn, they are fast working. They're really light. They're nice and snuggly without being too itchy. But if you make a mistake and have to pick it out, it will fuzz up into itself. So another volcano hat. Oh, yeah, a lot of volcano hats. Okay. These ones I made a lot of. That little pouch I showed you in the beginning has this yarn in it. This, I have a lot of hats that is both this shade and one that's a lighter shade. There's little flecks of orange and such in it, and it has a little bit more of a rough texture to it because it used to be a sweater. I found a poncho and a couple of sweaters at a secondhand store shop for my kids, and then they didn't want to wear them, so I ended up, but the wool was so nice I didn't want to get rid of it, so it was a handmade thing, so I was able to rip the whole thing apart and been repurposing the crap out of that yarn. I've even made cowls out of them, at least 2 cowls and a million hats, but they sell really well. People like the look of it, and so do I. If I can find the light one. Somewhere there was a picture of it on a piece of wool, but maybe I can't find it. Get her off the keyboard. There. This one I had a hard time color correcting, so it looks a little bit orangish more than it was. But that is the same yarn, just a tanner version of it. But I had a real hard time color correcting it. That is a brown fur that is on, so that kind of corrected as best I could. Let's see. Oh, switched somehow to top chat from live chat. Way to go, Carla. You knock her off the table, Carl. But yeah, I had more of the brown than I do of the light brown, but it's still, those ones sell really well, so I always have to make sure I have one of those. This hat will look familiar to some of you. This is a Stitch of the Month hat that I screwed up. This is the unnamed stitch. Let's see if I can find it. The details about that hat. No, I have not posted on Ravelry yet, so no details about that hat. But this one, I believe, was the January Stitch of the Month. Cannot remember for the life of me what it was called. But it didn't have a name anyway. Maybe it was February. Raymond will know. But it was from this year. And if you made a mistake in the stitch, which I did in a couple of places, it would make a little gap. Instead of going back and picking it out, because I had to do it quite a few times on this hat, I made it from the bottom up, I believe, because it had a lot of stretch to it. Anyway, I saw the mistakes. I'm thinking, screw it, I'm not going to fix it. So I left them in, and then I just, to make it so that you can't see them, I put these little chain stitch spirals around them. Or right over them so you can't see it. It kind of closes the hole at the same time. This hat, I can show you a close-up of the stitch. This hat, which took forever to do because of these little teeny tiny stitches, And this was a tensioning challenge as well to try to get all those stitches even. But anyway, it actually was sold within a week of going in the shop. It disappeared so fast. I thought no one's gonna buy the damn thing. It's a much different look for a needle binding hat. There's two different yarns in there. You can see there's a lighter one and a darker one. I didn't have enough of each to make a whole hat, so I just spiraled them around as I was going. Or no, I didn't spiral them around. I just switched them out every once in a while. Anyway, and like I said, I had made some mistakes, so I had to cover them up with embroidery. But nope, that sucker went real fast, and I don't think I'm going to make another one. I do like the look of that stitch, but holy crap. It looks knitted, but it's not. It's the way she was making her stitch. It was a girl on YouTube who was doing a tutorial for showing somebody how to nalbind, and it was just called "This is how you nalbind." And she doesn't know the name of the stitch. Somebody had taught her how to do it, but it wasn't your basic simple looping or Oslo stitch that you see most often. It's something different. But that would have been probably the February stitch of the month, which I recognize the hat. I used the hat, or at least that close up in the thumbnail, so you can see it. But it was, oh, there he goes. Raymond found it. 2025. It was February. It was over, and then you turn and you go under, and the connection she was doing was F1B1. So it was, you take like the bottom loop and then the top loop and put them together. Actually, the top loop and the one from the bottom anyway, you take them together from the front end, so it's a different connection to it. But it had a really cool look to it, and it had a lot of stretch to it, so it was fun to try. It was curly as hell. I steam blocked it, but I gotta say I do like the way it turned out. But yeah, I was fed up with my mistakes because I did actually rip back quite a bit. When you can't rip back, you have to pick them out. But the spirals on there did some help. There's this yarn, which I have a lot left over. This was a shawl that was knit for my kids. I used to have this yarn from before, and I stopped buying it. It was Auto-Priest yarn. I think it was Naturuld, or Naturgarn anyway, and it had some self-striping colors and different colors. But this one, I had a bunch of it, and I didn't buy any more because I was getting more snobbish with my yarn choices. My kid found a knitted shawl at a handcraft Christmas market, I don't know, probably about 10 years ago, and wore it a lot, but it got so many holes in it that it couldn't be repaired anymore. So I ripped it up and made hats out of it, and I still have a lot of that yarn left. So it's repurposed. That one disappeared real quick. People love blue. Here is the Balder hats. I love the Balder hats. Let's see. These things sell really well. So this is one. This I finally used up all the Balder yarn I have. It is the superwash yarn. It's not the most popular yarn, and it's not the most Viking looking of yarns. This is just quick and easy in Oslo stitch. Carla. See, did it change? Yeah, I think it did. Or is my... Oh, that's why my YouTube slowed. Okay. There it goes. It keeps stopping. Pausing. Anyway, but every time there's a Carla in the picture. Every time I make a hat with that yarn, it does sell pretty quickly. I've made them both with a pixie and without a pixie. I don't know if I have a picture of the pixie version, but so when one is gone, I make a new one. This is one that's being worked on the train, and you can see the colors quite well, what they're supposed to look like. But for some reason, when I was photographing the second one I made, and I think I did this other one in York. There. I think that one's York F2. If I zoom in, I have to look. I can see on the train that it's done in York. Yeah, it's York F2 on this one, but it's the same colorway as the first one that you saw. It just somehow changed in that light. Carla, get down. But it's a fast working yarn, and it's pretty. It's a superwash. But because it's a superwash, it will pill up faster than other hats. So I think I finally used up all of it. I did have it in some other colorways. Here was one that Kristen laughs at, and she's like, what in the hell? But you'll remember that hat. That wasn't too long ago on YouTube. It's another colorway of it. I did have a mistake in it. I don't know what the hell I did. I think Oh, that's why, because I did this one in York, and every once in a while I tend to throw in an Oslo stitch in my York, and I think I did it in at least 3 places. So this is also self-striping, but anyway, you could see I ended with a yellow one, and I had intentionally saved just enough to make a little chain, and embroidered or chain stitched a spiral right on top of it. This is actually, you make a chain first, and then you tack it on with some sewing thread. Or I think I might have I could have tried to chain it straight onto the hat, but then you got to really be careful with your tensioning. But it's, again, another way to use a small piece of yarn. But I think I'm all out of the Balder yarn, so I don't think I can make any of those anymore. I think that was discontinued a while ago while I was still loving how fast it worked up. The pants I made for my kids is out of that yarn. But yeah, can't get it anymore. I think I bought them all up when they were cheap or something. This thing is really cool. I wish I would have taken a picture of it when it was completely done. I forgot, and it sold really fast. But you can see this is a self-changing, self-striping mohair, and I thought I had a picture of that. Where it's there. There you can see how thin it is. I think it'll change on my screen soon. There you go. And so you can see the kind of stitch that I'm using with it. See, I got a battery warning on my phone, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. I don't know if I took a picture, if I wrote that on Ravelry, but I'm going to see, because I want to say that I'm definitely not using the Oslo stitch in that. Oh, I did! Oh my god. Nalbound mohair hat in Oslo. It is actually Oslo stitch, but you can see right through it. But because it's so fuzzy that when it was folded up like that, you couldn't see any holes. That one went quickly, and they wanted more of it, and I was just trying to get rid of that stuff. But that is, making that hat is a test of patience. Because again, don't make any mistakes, because if you have to pick it out, you're going to be screwed. And I did take a light photo with that. You can see the stitching there and how thin that sucker is. But it does make a nice hat. It just takes a lot longer because there's a lot more rows you got to do. And
somebody says, look how thin that sucker is. I always assume they're talking about me.
I'm sorry. That's my thin guy. He's skinny guy. Here's another hat of that. Okay, so that blue yarn that you saw. If I fast forward into it. So thin, says Rod Eastby. These hat designs are art. Very nice work. Oh, thank you, Roger. I think a lot of them tend to look quite the same. But I have all this wonderful, really expensive, beautiful yarn, snobbish yarn, and I still try to want to get rid of the leftovers up. So I try to use every piece of it. But this one is an example of yarn that was also from my mother, stash icicle Noro yarn, and at one point I said I got to start using the expensive yarn too. So this is the Silk Garden one. This is the same company, the Japanese company that makes the blue one I have just bought, but this is the Silk Garden version. It's almost the same thickness, I would say. It's very close. Maybe a hair thinner. And this one is done in York F2, or F1, I think. Now maybe it's F2. But you can see that it's a self-changing yarn. It's a beautiful yarn with the raw silk in it, not shiny silk in it. I did make some wrist warmers of that. I made some other things with it, but I have a little ball of that left over. So if I don't have enough to finish Karl's hat that I want to make out of this, which will probably never be done, and I'll be looking at it 5 years later, but I could use that colorway at the base of it, and it would look a little Santa-like. I don't know if I want Karl to look like a Santa, though. He needs to be every year. He needs to be able to wear it every day.
Look at how skinny that Santa is.
Look how skinny that Santa is. No, that's not good. This one I did for the Ukraine thing. Once upon a time, I did get yelled at for being political, so we won't focus on it too much. That was the closest I had to yellow. This one, I like the look of the hat so much as far as stitch-wise, and I like the way the blue and the gold go together. There. Yeah, so this one we did a little thing on YouTube where, yeah. I wanted to play, yeah, this I wrote on Facebook. It's done, or on Ravelry. It is done in Mom and Stitch, so that's, yeah, Finnish 2+1+2 F2, or the other way around. Anyway, I wanted to applaud some trend-setting null-binding I'd seen lately. Jenny Casey Eriksson, Dorota Baronovitz, Bert Volgers did as well, and I'm sure there were a lot more. That null bound some blue and yellow hats specifically with Ukraine in mind. This is at the time, this I made March 15th, 2022. So things were very much fresh at that point. We discussed it at the end of the Viking null binding last week, episode 104. Wow, it's been a while. And came up with a hashtag null binding for Ukraine with a goal in mind. Null bind something inspired by Ukrainian colors and post it to your own social media with the tag null binding for Ukraine. You can donate it or keep it yourself to show your support. And then we filled up the page with it. It was quite interesting to see. Like Jenny, Casey Erickson, and I also opted for Viking shades, so that I can give it a special world traveling so I can give it to a special world traveling Viking, who I know it will mean a lot to. I forgot about this. Vidar Erksendal. He's also known as Fiesta Viking. Fiesta Viking or Fiesta Vikings on Facebook and Instagram. You should definitely check out him. He's quite a hoot. He's got this beard that goes, I don't know, I mean, Karl's beard looks like nothing compared to that guy's beard. It is extremely full and goes all the way. You could tuck it into his belt, red. Anyway, and he drives his car all over the world, and it is completely covered with stickers from where he's traveled. He was in Ukraine when the war broke out and saw so much of it firsthand. He was on his way driving south through Europe with his car. I know he would love to have had it and support his friends out there. That is, when he's not showing off the braids that I do on his hair. He also has very long hair. You can check out his globe-trotting adventures when you get a chance. He is truly inspiring. And I said I probably could have gone a bit more yellow than I did, but I might have corrected that in a project in a future post. Anyway, so that's what I wrote about that hat. But I really like the way the Mom and Stitch looked in that, and I believe that is Olafoslopi, if I remember correctly. The yarn, that hat there, these will be recognized. That one hat was the one I showed you that's still not done. It's probably just as far, maybe a little bit further than in that picture. But the one underneath it, this is done in telemark, I believe, and that is also leftover yarn. That is not self-striping yarn. I just threw similar weights together. I thought that was going to take forever to sell. No, it was sold within a month. Happy to see people like the leftover yarns. Then we have the carnival yarn. This is a bit of acrylic in it. This one, it had its own self-shading, which was kind of fun. The name of the yarn is Carnival, but I don't know if you can still get it. But it's not my favorite, but it works up so fast. There's a green version of the exact same yarn. That's when I had Karl wearing a happy hat. That one probably sat in the shop for about 3 months, and then it went this summer. Then you have the cassock yarn. This was also my mom's stash, but I didn't realize there was 2 different shades, 2 different colorways. So if you look really closely, you can see that it also, every once in a while, I swapped in the other colorway. So there's like a kind of a chunk in the middle and at the end that has, but it was a nice way to mix up the 2. One is slightly grayer and one is slightly bluer. There's a pointed hat of the same version. I had enough of, I have a lot of it. I had a lot of it. I'm out of it now. I'm zipping through quickly now because we're probably at maximum overtime here. Oh, this yarn was fun. Actually, I'll go back one another picture first. This hat, which I showed you before, this is Big Drops Delight. This is one I have a little bit of a ball left that I'm going to make a pouch, and I'll mix that yarn in with a thin white one to make a pouch because it's not much left. But this one I made a hat, and you can see the way the colorway goes with the hat. That's just the natural shading of the yarn. But then when I wanted to make wrist warmers with it, how do you do that when you have, when the pooling is so long in between? So this one, what I did is I took out every bit of it I could get that was one color, and then kind of rip it in half. I had to actually look for where the yarn was repeating and go from there. So the order of the colors on this does not, there's a Carla in the picture. The order of the colors does not really match the hat because I had to add them on. It was a bit of yarn surgery going on here. But to try to get 2 that matched was really quite tricky. You just pull out as much as you can of one color and then kind of break it in half and put one in each. So that's a way to use it, but that was definitely yarn surgery. Radisby says, I wanted to try more thin mohair yarn, but I'm not the kind of person that would wear something like that generally, so I haven't found a project yet. No, make it and gift it. It's kind of fun to try it just to see if you can do it, but I was actually surprised that that working with mohair was more fun than I thought. And it wasn't bad as long as you stick with something like Oslo that's mind-numbingly easy for you, so that you don't have to overthink of it and pick it out. You're less likely to make mistakes. And then gift it to someone. They sold really well in the shop because I won't wear the mohair either, to be honest. I like the thicker hats. Let's see, do I have any more in here? There's so many hats. Plain colored hats. I didn't do too many of these. This is done with the October yarn in Norway. I have to look up that one on YouTube or on Ravelry, so you can get the. This one also is it's a little bit of a political statement, but not necessarily political. But it's there's a theme to it. Orange hat and Nalbinding, I called it. Yes. Oh, this is done in Yestal Cortina Soft, so this isn't the yarn that I was thinking of. Maybe this other one that I made had that yarn. No, and of course I didn't write it. But anyway, there is a certain yarn, orange yarn, that you can buy in the stores. I think they sell it in October, and like 5 kroner of every skein or something goes for cancer research. So you have to make something orange out of it and either donate it or keep it if you like it. But I'm surprised I didn't write the name of that yarn down anyway. But this one was Cortina, so it's not what I thought it was. Let's see. This one was also leftover pieces of Blona yarn. This one I did quite a long time ago on YouTube. It's also showing the size of my massive needles. But yeah, there's lots of different ways you can use it. This is not spiraled. It's just a chunk here and there. But when you go to make the wrist warmers, you take the amount of wool that you want to use, split it in 2 so that you have the same amount. You don't have to sit there and count stitch for stitch for stitch to make sure that you have the same on each side of each color. But you can use the same length and it'll work up pretty close. So that's what happened there. I think there's one. There's one of my favorite hats I have to end with here. But lots of needle binding. This is going to be making up for a long time. Okay, there you go. This hat I got to show off. This is one of my favorites, and I noticed I didn't get Karl's blue hat in here. I thought I had it on there, but I didn't. But it's the same yarn. This is Malabrigo yarn. This is, I believe, Rios. Let's see. YouTube is fast forwarding again. There you go. Yeah, so this was Malabrigo Rios. I believe I have this one on Ravelry too. I made it as a giveaway once upon a time. I think it was the first giveaway I ever did. And I believe Lyra has this one. Yeah, I made it in November 25th, 2020. So it was the very first year that we were doing YouTube even. And I believe it was the first Stash Busting Challenge as well. Stash Busting 2020. I put that this is Malabrigo. Yeah, this is Malabrigo Rio, so you can see it's much thinner. This one is done in Vendel F1 stitch, which yeah. Anyway, it's a beautiful yarn, makes a great fabric, but that's the difference between Rasta and Rio. Rasta was that big thick pink one, and Rio is this thinner one. I put this hat was part of a 4 times Malabrigo skein stash buster. Okay, so that's what I did, and this was 70 grams of 403 used to make that hat. But yeah. So anyway, but that's one of my favorite ones. Expensive as hell yarn. Beautiful. So. Oh, Lyra's on there. She says, I have it and I still wear it. There you go. You own one of my favorite hats ever made. Was that hat. I really like the way it pulled and everything. And yeah. So I'm really glad you still have it. We tried to do giveaways since then. Somebody won the hat last year, the pink hat that I had to make that I made that I couldn't put in the shop. The one that my kids didn't want anyway. And I forget who won it, but we wrote it in the chat. We wrote it in the description of the video or of the YouTube last year anyway, and they didn't contact us to where to send it. So if you look back and you find it and you recognize your name, we still have that pink hat, by the way. Max says, I personally find the bamboo nalbinding needles much better than the bone and the horn ones. I don't use the bone and the horn anymore because it's not only brittle, it's too soft. But it also chips. It depends on the wood that you're using, yeah. Ruddy says, Max, what have you been doing with your needles? No, but there is some, there are some that splinter a bit more than others. It depends on the type of wood. We were talking about this for axes. This is a Karl question now that he's completely checked out. Torben was making an axe, and he needed to make a handle, or a handle for his axe head, and he wanted to know what kind of wood to use. And you had
Well, it kind of depends.
wait,
Because
you're not on a microphone. There you go.
Torben is most likely making a tool axe, not a battle axe.
Yeah, he was making a tool axe.
So his oh, there's no way to not make this sound dirty. But
Not for kids, Raymond.
his shaft isn't going to suffer that much impact.
Yeah.
So I don't think it actually matters if the wood splinters or not.
Yeah.
So it might be that oak is a good alternative then.
Yeah.
Because it's super hard. The reason they're not using it on battle axes is because it will splinter.
Yeah.
So if you take a parry on your shaft and you run your hand over your shaft afterwards, you will get splinters in your fingers.
Not for kids.
But if it's a straight up tool, well, occasionally you do hit wood with it because you will miss the... When you're splitting wood, for instance, you will occasionally miss. So I don't know. I think I would go with beechwood because that's what I'm familiar with, and all my shafts are made out of that. But
Albert
for a
says,
tool axe,
yeah?
I don't know if it matters.
Albert said ash is one of the best ones he uses. What do you think of that? We didn't
Don't
think of
know.
that one. We were
I
thinking
have
of
no-
cherry, pine,
I have
oak.
no experience with ash, so I
Yeah.
can't say anything sensible about it.
Mm.
I think of it as springy, which might not be good for an axe, but I'm not sure. And it
Yeah.
also might be that if you cure it, it's no longer springy.
Sorry, I had to cough. No, but the same kind of applies for the needles. If there are some wood splinter better than splinter more than others, and you might run into that problem with needle binding. I had one. This one is obviously going to splinter a bit more. One that William Sulberg made, but it was called the parrot needle, and this thing was just funny. He called it made from parrot wood, but it actually he a lot of the needles that he would make, he would buy pen blanks to get some really cool materials. Really cool materials out there if you look up pen blanks. They're basically for making for people who make calligraphy pens and things that can use these. It's just like a cube, and you can probably get 4 needles out of each one. A square rectangular block of wood, but squared. Anyway, so one of them he found, it was a bunch of different colored woods that were dyed and then put together. If you ever had those nip picks needles, they're also made of the same thing. And then they glue them together and they make this new piece of wood out of it, and it has this really cool rainbowing look to it. And I did have one of that one. That needle has been reduced in size 3 times. It was the normal size needle that I like, really long, but now it's about this big because eventually it started splitting where the wood was, the pieces of wood were glued together. So every once in a while it would start to split and I'd have to sand it down. But pen blanks or knife blanks would look so cool as a needle. Yeah, and so William Sulberg, I wish he was still making needles. Lot of them, the beautiful, beautiful things. He would get burl wood. Burl is not the name of a wood; it's the name of a phenomenon in the wood. Is that right?
What?
A burl.
I don't know what that is.
But if you have like a piece of wood and it's got like this swirling circular pattern in it, that's a burl. B-U-R-L. There's also like a growth on a tree. If you have like a pine tree and it's got like this big pregnancy thing going on there, that's a burl. Anyway, so they make beautiful, beautiful things that you could make with that. Nikki says, bloody hell, you're still on. Been lazy this morning. Hi, all. Well, Nikki, you're at the very end. It was a lot of needles. Well, for one, I thought I was going to try to get on at 7, and I got on at 7:07 because I was still trying to change my pictures from square to rectangle format. I didn't realize so many of them were squared. It must have been for Instagram. But anyway, you can look through, and hopefully you got a lot of inspiration on hats to make. and a lot of inspiration as to how to use up small pieces of leftover yarn. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same yarn, it just needs to be the same weight. The same weight, or it doesn't even have to be the same spin. Sometimes it'll give you a cool new look. But yeah. So next week, do we want to bore Karl and do more 100% needle binding, or do we want to do something different? Do you have any ideas what you want to do?
No, not really.
Karl wants to drink a beer next week too. So, but we'll think of something. Anyway, but if you have any ideas, we're almost to the point where we have to start buying strange Norwegian food again, but we're running out of any strange Norwegian food we haven't tried before. My battery says we're at 10. Don't let her eat that cord. That's a great way to electrocute your cat. But Carla has been pretty good at babysitting Carla today. Hi, Carla. No, she didn't. Not very cheerfully. But yeah, and you're statch busting. Good luck with that too. Oh, Fåberg.
I could have bribed all 3 cats, but
yeah.
I don't see the point when we're this close to ending anyway.
No? Well, I forgot to show it in Fåberg, but yeah. Go ahead, say it. Your trick to bribing all 3 cats.
Is to bribe all 3 cats.
Oh, I thought you said you had a trick to bribe all 3 cats, but
no,
what were you saying?
The trick is to bribe all 3 cats with wet food, obviously.
Ah, the good stuff.
There is no reason to do it now because we're so close to that.
Yeah. And I forgot to show the Fåberg Stitch of the Month, by the way, so we'll get some of this yarn. By the way, if you don't know how to wrap your skeins like this, if you go in opposite directions, and then make one end eat the other, that's how you make a hank. I used to ball them up before needle binding. I don't bother doing that anymore. Okay, let's see. Clean off the couch a bit here. It's got popcorn on it. You can add a little popcorn and cord. Okay, we'll show Fåberg and then I gotta go. Especially because I see I'm at 9%, so I'm gonna disconnect my microphone again. And just go with the phone. Let's see if I can support this. And we need a cord. Oh, I have it. Where's the black cord? There it is. Poor Karl. I vote boring Karl, says Radispi. Yeah, I love the blue. The blue was really good. Roger says, next week, question for Karl. What conditions in modern time would bring back the Viking age? An asteroid? Permanent electricity outage? While you go outside and smoke the cigarette without a microphone on, Karl, you can come up with an answer. And I'll show the Fåberg stitch. Okay, disconnecting the microphone. Hopefully we don't lose sound. We've been lucky 2 weeks in a row. So, let's see. There we go. And plug in the phone so that we can make it through the last 9%. My phone is so full of photos now that it uses up the battery quickly. Okay, hopefully you can still hear me. Is the hat in an Arizona nalbinding? Yeah. The one that I made, that was nalbinding. That was the Vendel F1 stitch. Let's see. I don't know if this yarn pools, so I have to keep grabbing it from the same end. This does have 30% silk in it, as you heard. So it's raw silk anyway, but it doesn't felt, so you kind of have to be real careful when doing your pulls on this. But I have managed to spit splice Noro before, but yeah, short, small pulls. Technically, you can even do superwash, but you might have to murder the crap out of it and do very short pulls. It can have as little as 30% wool on it, and it should be able to wet splice, but you're going to have to use a lot of rage and friction and do very short pulls, not long pulls, but short pulls, and it'll come through. Now Carla's whining because Karl went outside and she saw him. No, it turns out it's a very vocal cat. Okay, so I'm still increasing every 5. But this is the Fåberg stitch, a little hard to see in this dark color. You have 2 loops on your thumb, and you're using 1 loop, which is the 3rd loop behind. So looking at it flat, this is my leader yarn. This is loop 1, goes on my thumb. Loop 2 goes on my thumb. Loop 3 is the one that we're having behind the thumb. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I'm doing just regular F1 because it was thick enough. So F1, one new stitch from the front. Pick up the third loop from behind your thumb in the away from your direction. Then go forward under the first and second loop and the leader yarn. It almost looks like one loop on there, but it's actually 2. And then very slow pulls so I don't ruin my, that's my splice there. I can feel it. It's still wet. F1. Let's see. 1, 2 on my thumb. There's 2 there. It's hard to tell. There we go. So F1, third loop away from you, go under the first and second and under the leader yarn, and that is Fåberg stitch. Careful, don't you sit on the plugs, Karl. You're sitting on the plugs. For a tiny little butt, it occupies some space. One more time, and then Karl, did you get an answer to that question?
Repeat the question.
Okay, just a minute, because we're going on a kind of microphone from the phone, so I have to turn it towards you. There. Third loop is away. Then you go forward. And because I'm making this a slow, gradual point, I'll be increasing every 5th until it starts to even out. Then I'll start increasing as normal to kind of make it go long triangle. Seems to be okay. At least every 5th in this Fåberg stitch, which should have the same gauge as Mammon. Okay. Do you think Carla would like a cat-sized hamster wheel to amuse herself? Oh, that would be awesome, Rodisby. I have seen cats that really like them if she is bored. I actually didn't know that was a thing, but I think we need one. Okay, so one question for Karl so he doesn't feel completely left out. Can you hold it? Because it's using the microphone here on the phone now.
Here.
All right, let's see. We turn it towards you. Okay, and the other way around. Carla is bumping. Okay, there you are. So he said, next week, question for Karl, but we'll take it today. What conditions in modern time would bring back the Viking Age? An asteroid? Permanent electricity outage?
It kind of depends on what you mean by the question. Because if you mean
he's being goofy.
Technology level goes back down to what it was in the Light Iron Age, then you would need a global catastrophe of enormous magnitude. Basically, you would have to eliminate everybody with my level or better in chemistry. Because if I don't have electricity, but I still have enough food, that I have enough free time to do things, I would have a working matchlock musket
That's not very
in a few months. And that's with the equipment and technology I have here in this valley. So somebody like me in a better position would have a better non-Viking type weapon. So for the technology to fall back down to that sort of thing kind of could and did happen. You have the late Bronze Age collapse, and you kind of have something similar in a way with the fall of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is not spread like we do it today. It's kind of just in the hands of a few people. And these few people are in cities. And these cities are subject to things like Viking raids, plagues, and sieges. So, theoretically, you can eliminate a big chunk of knowledge just by killing a handful of guys. An example of this is when they managed to make good mirrors in, I believe it was Milan. It was one of the city-states anyway. They were so concerned about losing their monopoly on mirrors that everybody who worked in a mirror factory had bodyguards to kind of double as assassins.
Really?
Because if there was any risk of them getting kidnapped and brought out of the city, they would just kill them. Because they didn't want anybody else to be able to make mirrors. That sort of thing is now almost literally impossible. even something that you have absolutely every incentive in the known universe to keep secret, like how to make a hydrogen bomb, then not as soon as somebody does it, everybody else knows it can be done. And if they have the basic knowledge to make a simple fission bomb, like the Hiroshima one, from there to the hydrogen bomb, they just need to know that it can be done, and a small group of smart people can do it. It has to be said also that after the invention, what Russia and China did was a lot simpler. They just used spice, much easier. But to completely uninvent something is almost impossible. It takes, if you kind of break society so hard that everybody just has to spend every living minute to just stay alive, just get your food, do the things you have to do to stay alive, then maybe. But the margins between the level of catastrophe we are talking about here and a complete extinction of the human race is minuscule. So I don't think this is something we should be going for.
No.
Culturally, if you think of what it takes for a people to basically start to act like Vikings, they just have to get away with it. That's basically it. I would say that Somali pirates are a very good analogy for Vikings. They basically do the things that Vikings does, and because they get away with it and have profit doing it, they keep doing it and they do it more. That's how it works. So as soon as you pay ransom to get your ship back, 2 other ships will be boarded in hope that the same thing will happen again. It's not a good idea to pay off people like this. Like when the French famously paid off the siege of Paris in 845. That, okay, you saved Paris, but the cost down the line is enormous. Because the Vikings find out that, hey, we don't even have to fight these people. They will just pay us for our vacation. We just have to show up. We get paid and we go home. And if they don't pay, well, then we are all dressed up and ready to go, so why not? Yeah, it's kind of a complicated question, even though it is a simple one. Anything good on the chat?
Yeah, Reduce B says, I think if society collapsed like that, then we won't have the internet. And people like Karl would have to get eliminated for the technology. No, sorry. And people like Karl wouldn't have to get eliminated for the technology to go back further back than he is capable of cause most. Because people don't know that. However, if people like him are around, then the overall technological revolution would obviously not stay at the Viking level for that long.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is kind of a little mental game I occasionally play with myself. If I was sent back in time, how helpful would I actually be? How much of what I know as a modern human would I be able to kind of get into their society? So, and I have to say, a lot of it is very, very hard. So say, for instance, if I went back to the Roman Empire, I could theoretically give them the recipe for gunpowder. But then I have to know what they call the ingredients. Or I would have to travel around most of the Roman Empire to actually find the ingredients myself to basically show them. And I would have to make it appealing so I just don't end up making a lot of fireworks. There is something called the toaster challenge that kind of illustrates this problem pretty well. It's a challenge that has been made to people. It's basically, okay, you start with nothing. You can start wherever you want in the world, but you're not allowed to use any pre-made tools. Just make me a workable toaster. So you would have to get iron, copper, a source of electricity, and get this bloody thing to work. And as far as I know, nobody has ever pulled off the toaster challenge.
Really?
No, it's too hard. There is everything we do to who am I misquoting here? But uh, one of the great inventors is getting a compliment, and he's basically saying, no, it wasn't really that much work. I was standing on the shoulders of giants. And that is what we are doing all the time, because we are not starting from scratch with basically anything. We have things around that has already been made by other people. The technology has already been researched by other people. So almost everything we do, everything we create, there is hundreds of thousands of years of of work that goes into it before you make your invention, so to speak.
You got some comment. Radisby said experiment. No, yeah. PJ says experimental archaeologists might come into their own. Oh yeah, no, I'll keep him warm with all my wonderful skills of fiber to wool. But also Raymond writes. Raymond Robert writes. How much would you be able to communicate? Would you be able to? Can you speak Latin? And Nolvia says, have you seen Outlander? Actually, this is a good point. A nurse travels back in time and brings back medical knowledge.
You have to find somebody who's willing to listen. That's a lot
That's
harder.
another thing too.
That's a lot harder than it sounds. And if I go back to the light Republican Rome and I look like a Germanic barbarian, they will not listen to me.
Yeah.
Even if I spoke perfect Latin, which I don't.
Wasn't there a movie about a guy going back in time, in the Roman time, in a plane, and tried to stop a war or something?
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it was Indiana Jones. Yeah, I was gonna say which one was this anyway, and then that they didn't listen to him.
One of the new ones. But,
yeah, one of the newer ones. Yeah.
Siege of Syracuse, I believe.
I think it's the most recent one, the one where he's AI'd for the most part.
Yeah, no, he was basically invited by Pythagoras, so that changes things a little bit. But even if I could sit down and talk to Pythagoras, and I spoke ancient Greek, and he seems to be one of the smarter and more open-minded people you could find around then, I'm not sure that he would listen. If somebody came to me and said, hi, I am from the future, 2000 years into the future, and I can give you some smart advice, you just have to prime the mainsail and whip the donkey to cure cancer, I would not be listening. It's very hard. And also, even if I have something that is objectively a good idea, if the good idea doesn't really work for them, take an example. This is the one thing I think I could actually technically pull off for a Roman and show them how it works. The stirrup. The Romans haven't invented the stirrup. It's invented by the Franks in about the year 400. So they are kind of riding without stirrups. They have a little bit of a bump in the saddle behind their butt that keeps them in place. But because they don't have stirrups, their cavalry can't do lance charges, because that would just knock them off the hell of the horse. So I could probably show them how to make a stirrup. But for the Romans, riding a horse is an elite activity. And if I make an implement that makes it so that and it is easier to ride a horse, I'm sure I would at least insult some equestrians by basically taking, hey, I've been practiced for 15 years to do this perfectly, and here you come with steering wheels? What the fuck? It has to kind of work culturally too, which is the challenge.
Radisub says, if you know how to make stuff like gunpowder from primitive materials, then I guess it's just a matter of learning the specific words for that. If you're immersed in the culture and are in a big city, you'll learn in no time. And oh yeah, the only bad Indiana Jones movie made. I think we were at your father's house when we watched that, but I thought it was an interesting point. You could have all the knowledge in the world, and you go back and they might look at you like you're I'm sorry, you want me to drill into his head? No.
And just to take medicine as an example, I don't know if you're familiar with a Polish guy called Semmelweis. Semmelweis discovered, they don't know what bacteria are. That's kind of an important point here. But he's working in a hospital And he discovers a trend when people go from doing autopsies to helping with births. The odds of the mother and the child dying with a fever is very high. If they wash their hands, the odds are very low. So he says, I don't know why this works, but it does work. You have to wash your hands when you come out from there and go into here. Nobody believed him. He can show it statistically, but he can't explain why it is like this. And every organization is in its nature very conservative when it comes to ideas. This is not necessarily a bad thing, because some new ideas are stupid and you shouldn't follow them. You shouldn't jump on every train that goes in any direction. But sometimes it's just blind luck that makes it so that we have progress. Here I wish I had the details correct in my head, but I think it was bullet wounds during the Napoleonic War. What they used to do was to basically cover the wound with tar and then wrap it in bandages. A French doctor runs out of tar, so instead he just cleans the wound and wraps it in bandages, which turns out to work much better. But if he hadn't run out of tar, he would never have tried it.
New ideas for time to get implemented. New ideas take time to get implemented. Yeah, but time will make it so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. That's a good summary, actually. But yeah, then sorry, did you have more to add, or because
No, it's a very
it's a complicated one, but
obviously,
it's a humorous question, but it's actually very interesting.
I could talk about this more or less forever, but it's the short answer. It isn't as easy as you would think.
Nah.
But also on the flip side, it is also very hard because information is now so spread, for good or for bad.
Yeah.
That it is almost impossible to delete all of it. If everybody who knows anything about anything lives in the same city by the banks of a river that floods all the time, then you can go from being pretty enlightened to dark age with one flood. But it's not like that anymore. I don't think I would find anybody in this valley, but within short driving distance, I could find somebody who has enough operating knowledge about nuclear fission that I could make a reactor with the right equipment. I would need some books, but even if the internet collapses completely, we still have libraries. We would still have sources of books. Back in the day, when every book was written on vellum by hand by a monk in candlelight, books were a little bit more rare and expensive than they are these days.
So this one I don't know. Max asked a question in there, and I'll let you read it because I don't want to run the risk of getting the YouTube shut down again by answering that one. Like, how do you make that? Can you go into that, or is you going to shut down my YouTube again?
The last time I talked about this, I kind of accidentally shut down her channel. So
it's a good one with all the needle bindings, so you can't do it
I
this time.
shouldn't give you the ingredients, but it is readily available ingredients that are pretty easy to get. There is one that is a little bit complicated, but some places in the world it exists in abundance, and the other two exist literally everywhere. One of them you can make from your own urine if you have to. You just mix these ingredients together, either dry or wet, and voila, gunpowder.
And you said it. Okay, but anyway, it's in I
didn't say the name of a single ingredient.
Oh no, you just the final product. But there's some comments in chat you can look at to see it. It's at the very end there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just counting my increases, and then sorry, I couldn't stop in the middle. There, Karl's reading the chat.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, you don't have to go into detail because I don't want you to mess up my.
I believe it's Adrian. How's it?
Raymond. Or, yeah, Raymond writes it. Adrian confirms it. And then the question was, how do you get those materials? But I don't know if you want to go into that either.
No, but sufficient to say that with one exception is very easy to get. And the one exception is very easy to get if you are in a place where it exists, so to speak.
All right. It's coming along. Karl the Blåfjell Nissa, the Blue Mountain Nissa. So there you go. It'll be. We'll see. I'll see if my yarn stretches that long. Okay. Anyway, we should probably go. Nikki woke up, so it's time to sleep. And I gotta feed him. And Carla's been patient enough, so she needs more snuggles. But then we'll see you next week, hopefully a little bit earlier. Hopefully I'll be on time, depends. I can do another week of needle binding. We got to get creative on these days that we're indoors. Maybe, I don't know, pouches and wrist warmers I think is something else. So I have a lot of, I make things that are usually what I can put in the shop right now, in a Viking shop. And nalbinding is questionable when it comes to the Viking age. So there's only so much I can make. But I think I have a lot of pouches and a lot of wrist warmers and some other fun stuff. So I can do another episode, at least to show that. I was surprised at the 50 pictures. I didn't even get all the hats in there. There's so much. Oh, look at all the little hearts and emojis flying up on there. And the likes flying up. And like and subscribe and say hello to the cat, Osman.
She's been pretty good.
She's been pretty good, yeah.
Some screaming periods.
No, but we figured out a lot of what it is. One, she likes the heat. It makes her docile. Two, Siamese cats are in general extremely noisy. We didn't realize this. And I think the reason why we didn't notice it so much at your father's house is because she's been an outdoor cat. So she probably annoyed the crap out of the neighbors. And then came into where your father is overheating the place with napalm in the oven. And then and she just falls asleep. So my guess is that's probably the reason why. But yeah, she is an attention whore.
Yeah. No, she was, when we started, she was sleeping nicely next to Silly in her bed. Silly has been in charge up until maybe yesterday. I think she might be challenging him now.
Yeah.
Because he slept in her bed. And that's like one line too far. So we have a series of pictures of him sleeping in her bed.
Yeah.
Her sneaking up on high ground above him. They are staring at each other. They are fighting, and then she is sleeping in her bed, and he is sleeping on the floor next to her.
Yeah.
But now they're good buddies. So
they're getting along.
when I made the first fire today, when we came back from work, they just go to sleep next to each other in her bed.
Yeah.
So they are getting along famously now.
They're starting to realize that they each have heat. So if they share the bed, they get body heat as well as fire heat. So, but we figured out she's an attention whore. And look at that tail. I'm sorry. Do that one more time. Look at that thing. It's like a life of its. Okay, but anyway, now we're on the long Minnesota goodbye. We've said goodbye 3 times, so I guess it's time to actually take it seriously. So see you next week. Hopefully 6:30. About a half hour earlier than I started today, depending on how much I get. Yeah, hopefully earlier. But I'll try. Okay. See you guys. Bye-bye.